Hello everybody, welcome back to the Daily Quick Hotfix. This is How to Train a Speedrunner. Today we are going to be learning a hat in time. Before we get into that, just a few quick reminders. SGDQ 2023 is coming up May 28th through June 4th in Minneapolis, Minnesota. If you're interested in attending the event, registration is open now until May 3rd. You can go to gameslinkquick.com for more information on that. I guess it's just one right now. We're gonna kick it right over to the runner in the commentary and we'll let them introduce themselves.
Alright, hello. My name is FM Optimist. I speedrun a hat in time. I currently have the world record for normal any percent and any percent lagless, which is what we're going to be showcasing today in a tutorial. And then here with me, I have my fellow commentator, Kazoru, who is also a very experienced speedrunner of the game.
Yep, I'm Kazoru, also known as Kaz or Kax. I speedrun this game. I am in the top 5 for regular any percent. I personally don't run this category that we're showing off today, but I've researched a lot about it before coming on here.
Yeah.
So this is Ahead in Time. It's an indie collectathon 3D platforming game. You go around different worlds and collect timepieces and some other collectibles that basically help you get more timepieces. And the goal of the any percent run is to unlock the final stage, which takes 25 timepieces. And then you go and beat the final stage, and that's the run. And we have over 50 timepieces to choose from in the entire game, so we just picked the fastest ones that we can get to.
Yep.
And as mentioned before, we're showing off lagless any percent, not just standard any percent, which means any form of intentionally inducing lag to the game is not allowed. And lag really breaks this game apart, so lagless is a pretty different run than standard any percent.
Mm-hmm.
So while standard any percent is the most popular way to run once you have some experience with the game, lag is incredibly complicated and has a lot of tricks and niches, and it's not necessary to get started with the game, so we decided to show off lagless for this show.
Yeah.
So what we have planned is an overview for the moveset and some of the speed tech in the game, and then a run through the game where we can pause and cheat and go back and explain things in more detail than you would see in a regular run setting. So we're going to be showing off some cool difficult strats as well, because we have a lot of time and also just for the sake of show. But we'll be showing beginner alternatives as well. So we have any questions before we get into explaining movements, movement tech and such, then that will be right now.
We're all good.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any questions yet, so...
Yeah, we're gonna just get started.
Right, so this run movement tech section is going to be pretty rapid fire with information. So I'm going to have breaks in between them for questions and such. So Hatkid's moveset at its core is fairly simple, but you can do a lot of stuff with it. So to start off with, you have a jump, and you have a double jump, and then you have a dive and a dive cancel by pressing dive again, like so. And if you dive at a slope, you will get a slide, and you can input a dive cancel to get out of the slide as well, which conserves the speed that you gained.
Like that?
Like so. And this rollout also works on flat ground, but the speed you get out of that is not very impressive. You can climb walls for a little bit, and you can jump off of them. And if walls are parallel enough and close to each other, you can also do repeated wall jumps to gain height.
Let me make my way here. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, like that. When you reach a ledge, you will grab onto it, and you can press jump to get on top of the wall that you're grabbing, or you can press dive to drop off of it. But if you reach a ledge when you are climbing a wall, you will vault immediately. You don't have a choice. Like right there.
Yeah, it kind of forces you up.
So diving into a wall will give you a bonk. So you need to dive cancel before you hit a wall if you want to climb it. Like so. And bonk will force you to fall to the ground. And hitting the ground in this way will also make Katka do the little get up animation. You will also get that if you fall from a high enough distance. And you can speed up this animation by pressing jump before she gets up. And that is called a tech. And if your fall speed is even higher, you will also take fall damage. You have a simple attack that you can hit 3 times in quick succession as well, before a short cooldown. And you also have a homing attack if you jump in the air and press attack when you're close enough to an enemy, like that. And then you can crouch on the ground by holding dive while not moving, and then keep holding dive and crawl around. It's pretty useless, but we do actually use that once in the run. And now we have a little break if there's any questions about the basic movement in the game.
So far, I don't see any questions about the movement or anything. There was one question, which was, will this be available somewhere in the Discord afterwards?
Yes. This VOD will be up on YouTube, I assume?
Yeah.
So it will be available on YouTube.
From GDQ side, it'll be up in a few days, and then, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll have to wait a few days, and then you can probably find it on the Games Done Quick channel, and if you ask about it in our speedrunning Discord, then someone will happily link it to you as well.
Yep, we'll have that available in our resources.
So, and back into explaining more movement, you can do something called a dive boost, which is basically a dive rollout, but with good timing. So if you dive and then you press dive again right as you hit the ground, you will get a significant speed boost until you hit the ground again. And you also need to be holding the direction that you're moving in for this to work. And doing repeated dive boosts is the fastest way to move across flat ground. And you can also press jump instead of dive to do your dive boosts, but the game is a little bit weird, and you get slightly less speed if you use the jump button, even though they're supposed to be functionally the same. Sorry. And it took years of people running the game to figure that out, which is very funny. I was also one of the runners that used the jump button forever, and then one day it was discovered that it was slower, and I got very upset.
Yes, it was very funny.
But use the dive button to do your dive boost. Get used to that.
Yeah.
Property of dive boost is that it is not a fixed speed. It takes whatever speed you have and multiplies it by 1.5, I think. So for example, to get a lot of speed, you can dive and get a slide, then you can leave the ground in some way, and then you can dive boost when you hit the ground, and that will result in like a lot of speed, like that.
Yeah, it goes so fast. Boom.
And dive boosts have another property where if you dive boost on a slanted surface, you will get a lot more speed than a normal dive boost. But the timing for that is a bit stricter. So a normal dive boost will have 6 frames of leniency, and that is the same is true for slanted dive boosts. But the later you do the input, the more speed you get.
Yeah, like
if you get on the first frame.
Yes, like sometimes, like you can see whenever I get like a very early dive boost, I basically go nowhere. But when I get a late frame, I go much, much further.
Yeah, if you get the dive boost on the first frame on a slanted, it will just act like a flat surface dive boost.
Yeah.
So, one bit of advanced tech before the next break is a slingshot. And a slingshot is a buffered single jump where in the little seam between where a wall and a floor meets. And if you do that correctly, you will conserve all of the speed you had going into that jump, like so. And these are usually very precise because you can't rely on just pushing yourself against the wall most of the time, because the wall will push you back out. But there are some walls in the game that don't push you back out, and it makes them pretty viable for slingshots and full game runs.
Yep.
And we're going to be doing a pretty cool slingshot somewhere later in the run. And by the way, buffering means to press down on input before the action is able to happen, and then the action will happen on the first possible frame. So this is very visible with dives, because you can hold down your dive button way before you land on the ground, and you'll dive as soon as you reach the ground. And jumps off the ground also have a window for this buffering thing, but it is a shorter window.
Yep.
A shorter window, but still long enough to take advantage of.
Yeah, my dive button is on control on the input display you see there, so you can see like I'm jumping in the air, and I'm just holding it down, and then I instantly do a dive when I hit the ground.
Yeah, so that's an example of buffering. That's what that means. Mm-hmm. And now we have another break. If there's any questions.
We're about to get into some much more advanced, complicated stuff, so just be prepared for that.
We don't have any question on the movement so far. We do have 2 other questions, though. One was about the keyboard. it required to play on keyboard? Can you play on keyboard or controller? Is it just preference?
It's mostly just preference. Controller and keyboard do have their own advantages in specific spots, but overall, it's pretty even. You can play with either one of them. I just prefer to play keyboard personally.
Okay.
Yep, it's pretty split among top runners what input method you use. I personally use controller.
Yep.
The other question, are there any macros or like hotkey tricks used, or is it all not?
There is a setup you can do with the in-game input settings in the files where you set up a bind that lets you just mash through text automatically by holding it down. There is a tutorial for setting it up out there, but basically what you need to know is my scroll button right here is set to where when I hold it down, it'll just automatically mash through text boxes whenever they pop up.
Yeah, it's a very nice bind.
Yeah, and that's pretty much the only one for the most part. There's some other ones, but that's the main one we use.
Yeah, rebinding is legal for this game to some extent. Turbo binds like the auto text match are pretty restrictive though.
Yes, they're limited in where you're allowed to use them.
Awesome. Those were the only two questions I see so far that haven't been answered. So.
All right, y'all get ready for hats. This is going to be exciting.
So yeah, sniper hats, which is like the name of the game, so they're pretty important.
Yes.
So you get hats by crafting them, and you need to find yarn throughout the run to craft them. You can switch through your unlocked hats at any time using the hat wheel, like that. But however, we also have quick hat switch buttons that switch your hat instantly without bringing up the menu, which is much faster because the hat wheel slows down your game, which is actually, it has its own uses, just slowing down the game with it, but you never use it to switch hats. And there's one hat you start out with, it's the kid's hat right there. And using it will just point the camera to wherever you're supposed to go. And in this case, it's kind of a free roam level, so it doesn't even do anything. We already know where we're going, so this hat is entirely pointless.
Yeah.
But now the sprint hat, and this hat has a lot of complicated text, so there's another break after I explain this one.
Oh, yes.
So the sprint hat is very cheap, only costs 2 yarn, and is definitely the most useful hat. And it's the first hat you crafted on your run. Changes up your moveset a little bit. You can use your hat ability button, which I believe is shift for you.
Yes, shift is my hat ability.
You use shift. Can also be referred to as like your sprint button or whatever hat you're using. And you use that to sprint, which is very surprising. So even more surprisingly, sprinting is faster than walking. It's 2 times faster, I believe. So we treat this hat mostly as our default hat for the run, and then we switch to the other hats when we need to use those. And if you jump while you are sprinting, you will perform a much faster jump, which has a fixed speed and has decent height as well, but you do not get a double jump out of it. You can still dive, but you do not get a double jump. And now for the complicated things this hat has to offer, there are some movement exploits that come along with it. And there are 2 main ones, which are the poorly named sprint double jump and then the double sprint jump. Which are shortened to SCJ and DSJ.
Yes.
And don't blame us for those names. They were already there when we started running this game, so it's not our fault.
Yeah.
So a sprint double jump is where you sprint and then you double jump. So more accurately, normal double jump will have your walking speed. But if you sprint and then you let go of sprint and you press jump 1 or 2 frames later, then you will keep the sprint speed into the double jump, which lets you go very far. So when performing this trick, if you get a sprint jump instead, that means you press jump too early. And if you just get a normal walking speed double jump, that means you jumped too late. So a double sprint jump is where you double your sprint jump, which means that these names might actually be good. But when you walk or run up a ledge, you enter what's called coyote time, which is just a friendly mechanic that a lot of platforming games have, where the game gives you a little bit of extra time to jump even though you already walked off the platform. And there's a bug with this mechanic in this game that allows you to sprint jump twice inside this window when you leave the platform. So that was a single jump, then after that was a double sprint jump.
Yeah.
You can see it gets a little more height, and you can see the jump particles happen twice. So with this tech, it's a little bit harder to tell where you went wrong if you miss it. But the important thing to know is that it's very dependent on the whatever ledge you're jumping off of, since what matters is when you enter Coyote time.
Yeah, like this one's much further back compared to that one, so as you can see, I have to jump a lot earlier. Even though it looks like I'm visually still like on the building whenever I do this, I am entering Coyote time. It's just like very close in compared to how it looks in game.
Yeah, basically every ledge in the game is slightly different, and you'll just have to get used to every spot individually, which is kind of a pain, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
So also getting the double sprint jump does not add to your speed, it just gives you a little more height.
Yes.
It does not double your speed at all.
That's very good for making like distance while still having the full sprint speed of a sprint jump. Going further.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, these two exploits are just used like all over the place in the run. Just sometimes for skips, but mostly just for movement optimization. And there is a third exploit, which is essentially the same as the DSJ, the double sprint jump that we just talked about. But for that one, you let go of sprint in between the two jumps of a DSJ. And that turns the second jump into a single jump. You can see that like that. And then you get a double jump that you can use afterwards.
One's
So
much
you get
harder.
a sprint jump. Yes, this one's definitely the hardest out of the three to get used to. So you get a sprint jump and a single jump in the Coyote time. And then you get a double jump that you can use later. So that's 3 jumps. So it's called a triple sprint jump, or a TSJ.
But luckily, it's also the least used jump in the run, so even though it's trickier to get down,
Yes.
it's not necessary to know whatsoever getting into the game.
Yes, there is no required TSJ. There are alternatives to all of them
Yeah.
for beginners. So yeah, that jump has like no speed, but it gives you the most height. So it's used for some vertical skips and vertical movement. And the same concept applies from DSJs where the ledge you're on matters. And yeah, that covers the sprint hat, which is definitely like the most versatile hat by far.
Oh yeah.
And we have another break. There might be some questions about this.
There's actually no questions about the movement. so far.
Wow.
Did I actually explain it concisely enough? That's amazing.
I feel like you've been doing a very good job at it. So.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, glad my prep work has been paying off. So,
All right. We ready?
Sorry,
We're all
we
good.
do actually have a different question that just came up. It's not
Okay,
about the
okay.
movement, but it's
Okay.
how important are these tech moves to be good at starting out with? Like, do you need to start out with these, or
I would say that the most important one to know just starting out is the SDJ, the sprint double jump, where you do this, you get the sprint jump into the double jump. A DSJ can be nice for saving some time, but if you're having trouble getting the timing of it, and then you're having trouble with the DSJs that only work if they're DSJs and fail if they're sprint jumps, it is not necessary at all. So if you just want to go straight into the game, I would just honestly learn the SDJ and then just kind of go from there, slowly add things.
yes, I would agree with that. It being a 2-frame window sounds pretty scary, but it's the same motion every time, and you kind of just get used to it. It becomes muscle memory. It's not as bad as you'd think.
Yeah. Alright.
So we can jump into the next hats.
Yes.
I'm going to explain the rest of the hats, and then there's another break. So next up, the brewer hat. This hat is also quite cheap. It costs 4 yarn, and you get it pretty early on in your runs as well. Gives you a little projectile that you can charge up, and you can throw it at enemies and also at breakable objects. So like these Mafia goons down here, you can throw it at them. The brewer potion does 2 damage on direct collision, as opposed to your umbrella attack that does 1 damage
Yeah,
per
so
hit.
these guys are dying in 2 brewer potions rather than the 4 umbrella hits they would normally.
Yeah. And then there's also breakable objects like those brown and yellow crates they also glow. Those signify breakable objects with the brewer. And some of those will also drop like yarn or other collectibles, so it's kind of like an investment when you craft that one.
Yeah.
You'll also notice a little yellow circle charging up whenever you use this hat. You can pause and like show that
Yeah.
little
it's this
indicator
right here.
right there. And that is your hat cooldown. Every hat has a different cooldown timer, except the sprint hat, which doesn't have a cooldown at all. And this this hat also is a catalyst for quite a cursed trick called a brump, which has one use in the run later. It's quite the spectacle.
For sure. It's just foreshadowing for later, though. You'll see. You'll see.
You'll see what it does. Stay tuned. So now the ice hat. This is where the hats start getting a little more expensive. This one costs 8 yarn to craft. And this hat resets all of your speed, and then it applies a fixed downwards velocity until you hit the ground. If you use it when you're already on the ground, you do like a small hop into there first. And this sounds incredibly useless in terms of going fast, but it has a very nice property, which is that it slides on sloped surfaces and gives you a lot of speed from that. Like this roof like here is very big, and you can get a lot of speed from the ice set. And additionally, you can use it to slide down, and if you leave the ice set, if you time this correctly, you can leave the ice set and then jump. You can get even more distance out of it, just like that. And you can also get a double jump. And the timing window, the timing window for that is similar to an SCJ sprint double jump. It's just more lenient, and also kind of matters the positioning on the ledge, but that is also more lenient than a double sprint jump positioning. Is a timing that's easier to get used to. In my opinion.
Definitely.
And there's also these ice head platforms scattered around, specifically made for the ice head, which just are like fast travels throughout some of the maps. And that's where this hat gets most of the use in this run.
Yeah.
There's also like areas where you have to use the ice head to slam down to unlock them. And now the Dweller hat. This one costs 12 yarn. And there are 2 special types of platforms in this game that glow green and purple. And this hat interacts with those platforms. There are green platforms, green little boxes right over there. And these green boxes are normally intangible. And when you use the hat around them, they will become solid, interactable objects. And then there are purple platforms that they do not exist in this specific world, I believe. But they do just the exact opposite of this.
Yes.
They are normally solid, but will become intangible when you use the hat.
Yep.
So this hat is unfortunately kind of just acts like a key, because there are like 2 areas that we need to get through later in the run that can't be skipped with through other means. Well, they can, but they're incredibly complicated and like only save 1 second.
Yeah. Overall, the Dweller hat doesn't really have any special tech to it. It's more just an item you use to use those special platforms and stuff.
Exactly. And then finally, there's also the time stop hat. But the time stop hat is very expensive. It costs 32 yarn. And so like we just do not have the time to go get all of the yarn for that. And also it's not even like, it's not that useful for saving time. It kind of just slows down time for things around you. You can see this bird goes very slowly. And the hat cooldown timer for it is very large. Yeah, that's all you're going to be seeing of this hat. Do not make this in like any run at all.
Oh yeah, no.
I think 110 makes it, but it's a...
Maybe.
And yeah, it's another break here. If there's any questions about those hats.
There's actually not been any questions again either.
Okay.
All right.
Cool. All right, are we ready to go into the run?
No, there is one more thing.
Okay.
This is almost over. It's almost over. Just one more little thing.
Yeah.
It's actually a pretty big thing, but it's just one more thing.
Okay.
So this game has some DLC.
Right.
And we use... Yeah, is that. And the game has some DLC, and we use one of those in the run. This DLC gives us a new world that we can get timepieces in, and we get 5 of those 90%. And this DLC also introduces online functionality. You're not allowed to use that in the runs, but you still get access to an emote wheel. And that doesn't sound very exciting, but it's actually really, really good. And the reason why it's good is because there is one emote in particular that has an animation assigned to it. And on this particular patch of the game we play on, this animation will override any animation that you're currently doing. And that is just, it breaks a lot of things in the game. There's a lot of little things that it can do, but for right now we're going to explain just boop clips. You can see right there, you're sitting down and then you can boop while you're sitting down, for example. But for boop clips, you just do a boop right before you're grabbing a ledge. Just like so. And that'll cause you to fall down a little bit, and you still have sort of a ledge grab state that you can use, so you can still vault. And vaults do not have any collision. Your collision is temporarily removed when you vault. So you can use it to go through walls. So you can use that to go out of bounds under some specific circumstances, like having a wall that is thin enough to clip through with us.
Yep.
And that sees some uses in the run. And yeah, that should be everything that I wanted to cover before we get into the run.
All right, cool. Yeah, that's all the basic movement tech we're going to be using throughout the game. And what we're going to do now is we're just going to go through a run through of all the levels we do in the order you do them. And we're going to be using some practice tools along the way too. I've set up a lot of commands and binds to make it work, such as the show volumes bind. It shows like all the recovery volumes and stuff in the game. Whenever I mess up or something like that, or I want to go back and show something, I'm using the ghost bind, which just lets me go through walls, fly around anywhere I want. I'm invincible. And then as well as that, I'll be using some restart level binds in order to show off some levels. So yeah, it's just going to be a very open tutorial. We'll do our best to cover generally how a lot of hard tricks and stuff work and where you want to go and why throughout the run. And yeah, I think it's time to just do a run and head on through.
So remember to put your timer back on.
Thank you. I did forget that. You make sure you have the game, not just game timer, act timer. You want both timers on for your run to be legal is how it works. But yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and get started here. The first level we're going to be going to is Welcome to Mafia Town. It's the first level you're sent to in the game, so we're just gonna be dive boosting through here. Heading down here, you can slide off that if you're lucky. I missed it though. And so the goal of this level is we want to go ahead and get enough yarn to craft the sprint hat right before completing it, and as well get 5 pawns so that we are able to continue on to another level that costs that amount. But for this level, what you're going to want to do is, for the beginner route, you can just go up in this corner right there, jump around here, and the first yarn you want is this chest. You can dive boost around here, jump down here, and do a little slide on this wood here, right around the corner to this next yarn. Then what you're going to want to do for collecting these 5 pawns here is you're going to make your way here and collect that 4th pawn entering, and then collect that pawn and kill this Mafia goon at the same time. And right when you do that, you want to pause and then craft the sprint hat. And then you can actually unpause during this animation, which allows the timepiece animation to play while the sprint hat is being crafted. And that's how you can go ahead and complete that one. Now for the more advanced route, it's just a bit more of a tricky jump you do at the beginning, really. I definitely do not recommend this for beginners whatsoever. It's a pretty precise jump, but we'll go ahead and show that off. First thing you want to do is buffer a single jump here right as you load in to have enough height to climb up here, and you actually want to open the chest yarn from this bit of fence right here. And then with some carefully spaced double jumps and dive cancels, you can actually get on this roof, and right as you get to the peak here, you dive, and you can actually slide down and go over the tightrope. And then you complete the level as normal, pretty much.
All of that saves 0.5.
Yep.
Over what we did earlier.
Yep. It's not very worth, but it looks very stylish for sure. And yeah, that's going to be Welcome to Mafia Town, the beginning level. And next is going to be already, sadly, one of the trickier things to do, one of the trickier tricks to do in this run. We're actually not going to unlock this panel. We are going to go to a time rift within the spaceship earlier than normal using the boot clips we just showed earlier. So what you're going to want to do is do a boot clip right here to the, my visual cue I like is above this gift box on the panel that shows your relics. And you're going to go ahead and set up for a boot clip on this fence right here. Get stuck in the wall, and then you want to jump on top of this tunnel. And if it doesn't work, that's fine. You just land down here and then climb. But be aware this wall is very far out, so just dive cancel early. And then we're actually going to do a very precise boot clip right here. That is probably the most difficult part of this. So what I like to do is zoom in, and then I just drop down a bit, try to stay fairly neutral with my speed, and then jump back up. and do a boop clip. Just like that, and you want to wait a sec, let yourself drop down. If you jump too early, you'll get stuck in the roof, and then when you jump back in, you want to hold the hat wheel so you get enough speed to go through the wall there, because for some reason the hat wheel slowing down the game just like increases the distance you travel whenever you clip. And just like that, we're in the lab rift.
Yeah, that's a very complicated route, especially that last boop clip. It's quite difficult. You can't really see what you're doing. So you do not have to do this to play the game. There is a route that avoids this entirely.
Yes, 100%. And then in this level right here, you can see I did the movement to get up here. You can kind of just do substitutions for the difficult tech I used there if you need to. Just like SDJing up, using some extra platforms to get to this point. But the important thing is when you reach here, what you can do is actually another bit of tech we skipped over a bit in the beginning. But I'll explain it real fast. Whenever you get in your turnaround animation, if you do your turnaround animation right as you walk off a ledge, you can actually ledge grab a ledge at a kind of skewed angle. I like to use the hat wheel to buffer it. And when you get that skewed angle, it kind of vaults you a little bit to the left, not just straight forward. But we use that to get stuck in this wall. And now that we're here, when we move forward, we're just gonna end up vaulting straight up it. This is called a zip. It happens in just a few types of walls in the game. But now we're just at the end of the level and we can collect the timepiece, just like that.
Yep, and zip saves a few seconds, not required either. You can kind of just make your way up the level normally if you can't do that.
Yes, and then another thing, at the end of time rifts like this, a roulette will come up, so you can just go back to hub and skip it entirely as well. And then next up, we're going to be going to She Came From Outer Space, which is what we wanted those 5 pawns for in order to unlock. And here I'm going to display a bit of tech with the boop emote again called a boop scope. So we're going to unlock it just behind this wall here. And whenever you do an unlock for a new world, you can actually boop after this animation, and you get control of HackKid and can kind of move during the cutscene and get to the telescope much faster instead of just sitting there and cheering and being like, yay, I unlocked it. And so
it saves 2 seconds for every time this is relevant.
Yes, it adds up quite a bit. So for She Came From Outer Space, the goal of this level is to just collect a bunch of yarn so that we can now craft the brewer hat, which we are going to need as soon as we enter Barrel Battle, the next level. So we want this yarn first, and there's a few ways to get this yarn. The method I recommend starting out is you climb onto this palm tree and then you just jump and you reach the yarn like that. But the method that top runners do is you can actually walk up this kind of hinge right here on the ice platform, run alongside this fence, and then do a pretty precise BSJ off it to grab the yarn like that. But either way, we're going to make our way up here now, climb this umbrella, we're going to go over this roof, make our way right here, grab this yarn, and then we want to instantly dive down to this yarn, grab it, and there is one more yarn just around the corner here, and that's all the yarn we need. Now we scare this guy due to being covered in mud, and we can craft the brewer hat just like that. And this part right here is just an auto scroller, and all you need to know is be patient when he climbs that thing right there, because he can soft lock if you're too early, and collect all the pawns you see, because you are going to need them for later, and it's just a good idea. So while we finish this level, if there's any questions people have, I can do my best to answer them.
Yes, these pawns are like completely free as well, because you have to wait for them, so you should pick them up.
Yeah.
The only question here I see is what is the thickness of a wall that can't be moved?
So usually when we call a wall thicker, that refers to the fact that the wall has like kind of extended invisible collision that you cannot walk past normally. And there's a few walls that are like that, such as in the finale level and some in the Nyakuza world as well, where it's just harder to clip past them in general, so you can't really make it work. So that's what we refer to when we talk about the thickness of walls.
Yeah, we don't really have a objective measurement for when a wall is too thick. There's just some walls you can make it through, other walls you can't.
So So now we're...
As you saw earlier, you can use the hat wheel to make it through some of the thicker walls, but there's a limit to that as well.
Yep. Okay, so now we're going to be going to the barrel battle, and there's only one yarn we really need here, but what we're going to do is we're going to climb up to the left here, pull out our brewer hat, do a dive boost, and you want to hold the brewer and bounce on either a bird or a mafia goon here, and then release brewer so that this yarn comes out. And sometimes this yarn, where this yarn travels is unfortunately RNG. Sometimes it can fall down there in the river and you have to do some alternate movement. But what you want to do after that, no matter where it ends up, is just make your way straight to the fight. And we're just going to use a combination of the brewer potion and the umbrellas to kill these guys. This is why we wanted the brewer potion as early as possible, because it makes this fight so much faster.
Why did that guy require an extra hit? What happened?
Sometimes he can not take the full damage of the brewer potion if you're at a very specific position, but it is rare that happens.
Yeah, I've never seen that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so you just want to collect the pawns that were kind of sitting around after this cutscene. And then there's a very special spot just right here. Right about here, you sit here and you're invincible for this entire section. It's an auto scroller. And then oh yeah, you go.
Yeah, I want to take the time here to explain why we played lab early.
Yes.
Like why we went out of bounds. So the reason we did all that to get to lab earlier is because of yarn routing, essentially. So normally you're locked to the first 4 timepieces in the game before you get to choose where to go. And those 4 timepieces are the 2 stages we've been in other than lab, and then this stage, and then there's a stage after this where you fight Mafia boss, the boss fight. And if we have the brewer hat and the ice hat for that fight, we can save 40 seconds with a quick kill.
Yes.
But the problem with that is that getting all the yarn for the brewer and the ice, and also the sprint, within just the first 4 levels, requires you to go very far out of your way for some of the yarn.
Yeah.
So to solve that problem, we go out of bounds to play lab earlier. So we can essentially have lab as our 4th timepiece instead of the Mafia boss level.
Yep, and
then we play Mafia boss much later in the run.
Yep, and it's important
when we have collected yarn.
It's important to have the 4 timepieces. That way we can enter the birds level, which is the earliest other world we can enter before Mafia Town. And we're kind of locked out of other levels in Mafia Town before that.
That's what I meant, yeah.
Yeah, and then we do another boot scope here. Now we're going to be doing Deadbird Studio. Deadbird Studio is a level that is full of lots of different kinds of movement you can do. It's very flashy and fun to watch for sure. So first thing you're going to want to do is just dive boost over here. And you're going to want to do either one of 2 things. Sprint jump onto this counter and do a DSJ on top of this. Or if you're having trouble with that DSJ, you can go onto this cactus for a little extra help to do just a normal double jump to make it up here. But either way, we're going to unlock the vent and then be doing a bunch of fancy things here. So we're going to be dive boosting down here. And then right here, you can either do a DSJ up on top of this cart. Try not to get caught while showing these. Or an STJ up here. And then we're going to hit this lever. The cart's going to go right. And we carry the momentum of the cart actually with an STJ to go a little further. Now this section, just so you know, you want to be very careful with this section because using the volumes, you can see there, that giant green box right there is the checkpoint for this section right here, and we just skipped it entirely. So anywhere you fall here is going to send you all the way back to the beginning of that room, so just be very careful until the next recovery volume. But either way, we're going to make our way up this box. Onto this roof, however you find easiest, and grab this ice yarn. Now, you want to get down to this lever right here. You can dive boost here, sprint here, but then we climb onto this camera and do another momentum SDJ like that, and we have officially hit another recovery volume, so it's a lot less scary now. But we're going to make our way here, use these sandbags to carry our dive boost movement. Be very careful with those penguins. And now for this section right here, what you do normally casually is you're going to hit that lever, the cart's going to come over here, and you have to be very careful with the owl to time getting over there. And obviously that is incredibly slow. But as you can see, there's just a checkpoint volume in the middle there, and we can just reach it with a sprint jump. And so we just warp over here, and all of that is completely unnecessary. Now there's a yarn up here you're going to want to grab. You can either do a wall jump up here onto the gate, or if you find that a bit hard because it can be a bit precise, you're just going to double jump up there and then head up here and grab this chest yarn. And then there's one of two routes you can take to the end here. The one that advanced runners do is they carefully jump off here onto this fence and then jump across here to that platform just like that. But it's very difficult to see that fence, especially this lighting setting with depth of field. So the other route is you SDJ across here, be very careful. That guy has extremely long vision. And then you can actually jump on top of this electric box and just do a double jump around here, just like that. This is the method I recommend starting out. And then be very careful of this guy. He can spot you super fast, so you want to drop down here. And then again, there's another recovery volume. You can hit early with a sprint jump or dive boost there, just like that. And we're at the end of the level. And we're just going to skip through all this. Hold dive here to go straight to the camera.
Very flashy level. Lots of things going on.
And then you want to normally hit the done button here as fast as possible. And ideally you do want to be on keyboard for this because the controller goes very slow across. It's like so slow. So slow, whereas the mouse you can like instantly hit the done button just like that. And yeah, that's the end of DBS.
If you're playing on controller, there are generally going to be more moments in the run where you switch the keyboards to, for example, go back to hub or for this thing and for one specific level later. But you don't really have to get like super good at keyboard.
Yeah. And then the next...
You can very much just main controller.
And then the next level we're going to be going to is Picture Perfect. And what we want here mainly is money and yarn to work towards the ice hat we're crafting later. But the goal of this level is you're a celebrity on the moon now. DJ Grooves wants you to go around and meet and greet people for his upcoming movie star movies. And so there's these guys with question marks. They want to get to know us. That's going to raise our fan club rating. There are people who take pictures as well, but either way, you're going to want to make your way up here. There's an ice hat yarn. And you're going to want to grab at least 2 of these tokens. This is going to be the first one we're going to grab, but they especially boost your diva, your max diva rating. And you need at least 2 for it to reach the max amount. And with that, then you'll be able to spawn the timepiece and finish the level. We're going to make our way down here, grab this yarn. This yarn is also important. And right here, we're about to do a pretty tricky trick. Where we're going to collect the token to spawn a dog on top of the fountain at the start there. And we can actually use the brewer potion as we fall to hit the token, and it'll just go ahead and hit the cardboard dog at the top and finishing that token sequence very fast compared to having to climb up there manually and hit it. So we're gonna go ahead and see if we can do that. And there's also a camera guy on the roof you're gonna wanna get along the way. You'll see how I do it right here. We're gonna hit that spring, dive boost around here, hit the camera, line up with the dog, and then land right on the token. And it should pop the dog just like that, yep.
Nice.
And that gives us max diva, and the timepiece is gonna spawn right here. We just get there early, just like that, and that's picture perfect. And then there's a little audience sequence right here. You can hold menu confirm, your attack button to skip straight through it just like that and speed up the animations just like you would with the telescopes. And now...
We actually forgot to mention the telescope one.
Yeah, whenever you're in a telescope, so I can show it off right here actually. When you enter a telescope, the animations of like levels completing and new levels appearing, you can actually speed through those by holding down menu confirm, your attack button, and it'll cause it to just go a lot faster. Like here
on controller, that is your jump button, by the way.
Yes. So it was very slow there, but once I started holding it down, it just zoomed through right away. But now we're gonna be...
the next telescope you'll see, you can pay attention to how fast the icons will go.
Yes. But now we're gonna be making our way to gallery. When you wanna jump down here, use the brewer in this corner, and it should just completely free your way to dive boost straight over here to the rift. And I'm going to briefly explain the jumps we're going to be using in gallery and slow down to explain things as needed, and then I'll just restart the level again to show it all at once since it's a very cycle-based level. But you're going to make your way up here. You want to do 2 dive boosts, And you have two options here once you get here. You can sprint jump, you want to sprint jump to these gears. And what you can do is you can either DSJ and then dive cancel to hit this checkpoint. Or what you can do is you can double jump, then dive cancel, jump when you're at the max height, and you will hit the checkpoint and warp back up here if you can't get that DSJ. So then you're gonna wanna make your way here, dive boost through these balloons. And ideally, if you make it here in time, there will be a platform that's on the right here. And with the most advanced movement, you can actually DSJ off of it if it's far right enough and make it straight to that platform over here. So I'll just wait for it to get that cycle. Just like that. But that is a very difficult and scary DSJ, obviously. So what you can do instead, if that's a bit scary for you, is a few things. There's a lot of options. You can SDJ over here, straight to this checkpoint. And then from there, you can either head in between those boxes just like that. Oh, I'm all the way back here. Oops.
Forgot to save your position.
Yep. There'll probably be a few moments like that. Or you can actually go under this box as well and climb like that. But then you're going to want to make your way up here, head to the spider section, and be very careful here. It's easy for the spider to kill you or to overshoot it, but you want to dive on top of it and then climb up here. Make your way to this timepiece, and you can either wall jump up here, or you can do an SDJ straight to the end of the timepiece, just like that. And so I'll go ahead and show all of that at once now with the cycles lining up properly, doing the advanced strats, since that's what I know best. The two dive boosts. There's the DSJ up there. And we're gonna DSJ off this. Barely make it
Very
across.
good. Another DSJ up there.
Yep. And all together, that's what it looks like. And I got a 25.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, I got a 25 with a bit of a blip at the end there, which is a very solid time to get at a top level for sure. And now we will be going to Subcon. Oh goodness, there's a lot of crazy things that happen in Subcon. Why did I spawn here?
What?
That's interesting. Okay.
Okay, I'm not sure how that happened.
Yeah, me neither. It must be some practice mod that caused that. Normally you spawn back at birds though, and you just dive boost down here. And then when you get right here, Roomby is going to be in the spaceship, and you want to make sure you grab Roomby yarn. It's very easy to forget Roomby yarn, but it is necessary. And it's RNG wherever Roomby is in the spaceship. And you just kind of have to react to wherever it is. So we do another boop scope here though. And then we're going to make our way to Subcon. And CO is it's an interesting level. Contractual obligations. There's a lot of crazy things here. So the beginning sequence of this level, the way it works, there is a bag over there this minion's trying to lead us to, and Snatcher's gonna appear, and he's gonna kidnap us in the bag and make us sign a contract for us to do specific tasks for him. And it's relatively slow when all that goes down. So what we're gonna do is use the magical boop emote, and we're gonna end up overriding that that animation of us being stuck in the bag, and just be able to walk freely instead and skip all the way to the village. We have to complete this level. And there is actually another cutscene in that village area where Snatcher appears again to say hello real fast. And what we can do is actually overlap the cutscene where Snatcher pulls us into his realm, makes us sign a contract, and just Snatcher saying hello in the village, and that'll cause us to skip that bag sequence entirely if we do it right. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. You just wanna slide down here, and right about here you wanna jump, and then quickly use the boop emote, and you should fall out the bag like that. And you're invisible entirely until you reach the village for the sequence. So you wanna quickly make your way here.
So here you only want to sprint and do sprint jumps?
Yes, that was an important thing I missed. If you double jump or dive while you're in this bag state until you get the cutscene overlap, you will just be stuck, suspended in the air until you use the boop emote again. So make sure you only do sprint jumps, and make sure you only do single jumps. A double jump and a dive will get you stuck in the air. So either way, we're gonna break the ice here, and the beginner route is to just go straight to the cutscene, which spawns around right here. We're gonna get that overlap. And as you can see, you kind of heard the bag animation of the bag like breaking. That kind of like do noise as we overlapped with that cutscene, and that means we got it. So we're just totally free to complete the level now. If you're fast enough, though, you actually can carry the painting to that cutscene overlap in time, which I'll go ahead and demonstrate here. It saves about 10 seconds versus just going straight to the cutscene, but it can be pretty difficult to get down because it's pretty precise timing with getting the painting there without being too late. We're gonna do the same thing, break the ice, but I'm gonna grab the painting this time. And throw the painting right as I hit the cutscene trigger. And now I have the painting here and I can burn it in the fire without going all the way back. Just like that. So throughout this section, as we burn these 4 paintings, we're gonna want to be taking damage going into the fire. And by the time we reach the end of this level and burn all the paintings, we want to be at 1 HP for a death warp we are going to do to go straight to the subcon well area. So I'll take damage here and then 1 more damage right here. Then you're gonna quickly grab this cherry, jump up this mushroom. And then there's a chest to the right and you wanna quickly grab that yarn if you can before the cutscene pops up, just like that. And then we're gonna assign the contract that appears to the right here. This is the mail delivery service level, which we'll be doing later. And then this part right here is a little tricky. It's easy to mess up here, so you want to be generally careful. Otherwise, you might end up having to do the entire level again. And you definitely don't want to do that. When we pick up this cherry, this dweller is going to cause the cherry to get in an explosion state, and there's going to be a timer on it before it explodes. And the goal is to drop the cherry right before that timepiece, and we jump in between the cherry and timepiece, causing us to die while we enter the timepiece and collect it, which will cause us to spawn back at the beginning of this level instead of going all the way back to hub. So here we go. Throw it right about here, and right about here, jump in the air, and just like that, we died while grabbing the timepiece. Now that was a lot. Contractual Obligations is a very complicated level and is a lot to learn starting out. So I just want to get a checkpoint before we continue the subcon forest. Does anyone have any questions they want answered?
There was... The only question I've seen so far is boop question mark.
Boop? Boop?
I'm not sure that counts.
Don't think that's a question.
Well, we can answer it with boop exclamation mark. We have it right here. It's fine.
So there is a question. It was answered earlier, but how do you skip text so quickly?
How do you skip text? It's a bit complicated of a process, but to generally summarize it, there is a bind you can set for keyboard that is the scroll bind, so like scrolling up and down. And you know, it's meant to be like scrolled up and down, so it can be like used very rapidly and stuff. So because of that, it wasn't meant to be bound to one specific button, but when it is bound to one specific button, it just causes the game to basically mash whatever input that's set to frame perfectly over and over and over. So it's literally a turbo. So basically we set that scroll bind to whatever button we want to skip text mash with and set it to be the hat menu cancel, so like backing out of a menu, and it just frame perfectly mashes through text whenever it's held down, and that's how it works.
Yes, you need to edit your game files for that.
Yep.
And people on the Boop Troop Discord, which is the speedrunning server for this game, would be happy to help you set that up.
Oh yeah, 100%. So now we're going to be going into subcon well. It's not as complicated as Contractual Obligations, luckily, but there is one thing we want to do before we get to the level itself, and that is take down the blue fire over there. Blue, purple, whatever you want to call it. I call it the blue fire because they're blue. But there's just 2 paintings we want to grab real quick for that. I'm going to burn this one. Then over here and grab this one. And before you throw in this one, I'm going to go ahead and explain some movement we're going to need to do, because we want to get in a position to be able to get up and grab a yarn as fast as possible before the cutscene plays. That kind of shows the wall being burned down. Here we go. And what we're generally going to do is the moment I throw this into the fire, I'm going to be heading this way. dive boosting off that branch, and where you ideally want to end up is right next to this platform on the swamp floor, so you can jump up and grab this yarn and a bunch of other yarn that we're going to grab momentarily. So here I go, going for that. And then the dive boost off this branch. I did miss it. It's much higher up than it looks, and it is easy to miss. But if you miss it, there's actually a little ice spike right here you can stand on, and then just jump your way over here. So it's not the end of the world at all. So first, though, we're going to be grabbing this yarn. We're going to climb up this. I did a DSJ there. You can SDJ there, or you can just jump over here and climb up just like that. But either way, there's the second yarn here. We're just going to jump here. Third yarn. And be careful with this tree. It sticks out much further than you think. You kind of want to swerve around for the fourth yarn. And then as for entering the well, there's two methods for doing that again. If you have a stable FPS that stays pretty stable around the legal FPS you need for this game, 60 FPS, you can actually dive in between this tree and the well right here, and it just kind of sends you upwards, and you can just land straight up here. But it is FPS dependent. If you lag a lot, you're probably going to have a lot of trouble getting it consistently. And if that's the case, you can just hit the bell and climb up these dweller platforms. It's a bit slower, but again, it's not the end of the world to do. The well dive is not a necessary bit of movement to do whatsoever starting out. But now we're going to be going inside the well, and this is where we get the hook shot. The hook shot's going to be in this room over here. You can do a bit of fancy movement with this cherry. You can either like jump and bring it over there, or you can grab it, throw it instantly, slide off that, and get kind of a slide and a dive boost there. Normally it's a little faster than what happened there, but it looks really cool when it does work out. And we have the hook shot now, just like that. Now, something I want to explain with the hook shot really fast. Obviously, it lets you grapple on to stuff like lanterns and hook shots, just like this. But a strange property you want to look out for is if you dive and then just hook shot straight out of a dive, you kind of get this invisible ceiling. So like, see how I didn't quite get height going up in the air there? I just like fell straight down. Whereas when I dive cancel, I do get the height. So just be very careful when it comes to going into hook shots. Make sure you dive cancel before you grab the hook shot. Otherwise you will not get the height out of it. But either way, we're gonna go up here, grab this hook shot, and we want this yarn right here. And this is the button to activate the gate to let us free in this room. You can do a little slide right here off this route into a fast dive boost. And then you want to go down here, and we're going to activate the second part of the inside. Now, this is all very fast movement. So I'm just going to go pretty fast explaining what happens, but we're generally going to skip a majority of this section, just go straight to the end pretty much. We're going to bounce up this twice, grab this hook shot, turn to our right real fast, grab this hook shot. We can land up here. And there's a bit of the wall that actually sticks out here. You can actually walk up it. And we're gonna jump up here and grab that hook shot sticking out there and climb up this pipe. And we're at the end of the level just like that. And after you blow up this ice, this is the chance you get to craft your ice hat, which you're going to need in just a few levels. And yeah, that's the subcon well, pretty much. You can buffer a double jump and a dive out of this cutscene to get a bit more speed going into the timepiece there. But yeah, well is generally more straightforward than contractual obligations. There's some tricky jumps there, but in general, it's just a level. You play very linear.
Very fun movement level.
Yeah, and you get hookshot, the best badge in the game. It is a badge, right?
Yes.
I keep saying, like, I keep getting charms and badges mixed up from like Hollow Knight. And
yeah, that's a different game.
Yep. Well, now we're going to be going to the manor, and to get to the manor, we're actually going to be entering through contractual obligations, which does mean that bag is still there. So to avoid that bag, you're going to be heading to the left here, actually, instead of down the straight path, sliding here, and you can do a bit of a fancy dive boost right there with that strange tree collision. In the beginner movement, we're going to be going, just kind of dive boosting across here, across these bridges, doing a little bit of slides. As you saw right there. Dodge that snatcher trap. We do not want that to come up, otherwise we'll be taken into his realm to do contractual obligations. But all these puzzles, these dweller puzzles, the cherry puzzles over there, you can skip all of them. So we're gonna jump onto this bell, head onto this bit of wall right here, and then just dive boost down here. And you can actually land on top of the dweller's head as well. And this wall is just an illusion pretty much. And then we're gonna SDJ over here to this bell. It's a bit of a tricky SDJ to get out, especially when you're starting out. It's pretty spaced out. So if you miss it, you can just hop on this bell and then double jump up here. That's a perfectly valid backup. But then you can literally just sprint into this wall and then dive on down, and it's not an issue at all. And then what you pretty much do is there's the manor. We're gonna dive boost all the way across. A lot of dive boosting. It's a pretty big field of snow. And then you would head down there to finish up the manor itself. But what if you didn't want to do that? What if you just wanted to get straight to the manor without doing any of that whatsoever? Well, there's a way. And it's one of the most inconsistent and difficult tricks in the game, but definitely the flashiest and most fun by far. So I might have a bit of trouble.
We want to show this off.
Oh yeah, I might have a bit of trouble getting it here, but I will just restart the level and try again until I get it. But cherries and generally objects you can pick up in this game are strange. They stick together like glue. So you can throw a cherry into this cherry, and then we want to line up in the middle of these cherries, so that we're on the back cherry technically, but can grab the front cherry. So to do that, well, we just do 2 umbrella swings to get to where we want. And then when the cherries are at their tallest and they're kind of bouncing animation, you pick up the front cherry and you just, yeah, you hover. And I got it there first try. And
that's very good.
Yeah, there just so happens to be a giant hole in the top of the ice dome around the manor. So you just sprint off those cherries when you get in about that position I jumped off at. And you can just go through the front of that hole there, and you're straight at the manor, just like that. It takes like 22 seconds?
20, yeah.
Yeah, 20 to 22 seconds.
Very, very difficult and inconsistent, even among top runners. We fail it all the time.
Oh yes, I failed it in the lagless world record I got recently as well.
Yep.
So yeah.
Everyone has their own setup for it as well.
Yeah, it's very tricky to figure out.
That's how much there is to it.
Oh yeah, lots of factors. I was very rough with my explanation, but there was like tons of tiny things I was looking out for to make it work. But yeah, now we're inside the manor. The thing with the manor, we can't use any hats or hat abilities. We can't dive. We can pretty much only walk and double jump. And we're gonna just jump there, skip that dialogue. And this was set up because this is a horror level. You go through the level, you get chased down by Vanessa and have to escape and make it to the top where the timepiece is. And it's more of a puzzle level than a platforming one. And normally what you need to do is grab that key and make your way up there and start getting through the level. But Gears was very, very kind with this. Very kind. You grab this yarn and get in between these 2 barrels, crawl, and we're at the end of the level, just like that. That
is our only use for crawling in the run.
Yes, they just purposefully left a hole there that lets you skip the level. I believe it was meant to be a shout-outs to the beta speedrunning community way back before this game came out, because they tried for so long to find a skip in this level, speedrunning the beta, and when the game came out, Gears went ahead and added it for them as kind of a shout-outs. We're not quite done yet, though. We can go and grab that chest for the timepiece, but if you just walk forward, there's a cutscene. It's like, look at that. That's where the timepiece is, and this is where you are.
Are you sure it's in there?
No.
I can't tell what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you do here?
Play the piano over there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but as you can see, the trigger for that cutscene is actually a pretty low rectangle, but it goes all the way across. But yeah, I kind of previewed what you do here. You can actually stand on this door that fades out as you get close to it. You jump up it, and you can just jump over their cutscene trigger just like that. And that's how you skip it. How much does that cutscene lose? Like 8 seconds?
Yeah, I think so. That sounds about right.
It's quite a bit. Quite a bit. Yeah, that's the manor. It's probably with the hover. Yeah, hover is like one of the flashiest tricks in the run for sure. It's very, very cool, even if it's super difficult.
Oh yeah. What makes it the most difficult part about it, by the way, is the invisible walls.
Yes, there's I kind of just like went straight there. It looked like, but I actually went in between these two very large invisible walls that surround the normal path to get there. So you need an angle that perfectly squeezes in between them. Otherwise, you will get stuck on the invisible wall and your hover will fail, and you have to go all the way back down.
Yep. You can also go over the walls. But, yep, either in between or over.
Yep.
But both of these are very hard to do.
Mm-hmm. So now we're going to be doing mail delivery service. That level we unlocked in contractual obligations earlier. And the goal of this level is Snatcher wants us to deliver mail for these minions across the map that have these little mail icons above them, just like that. And we're given a scooter we can use, and it shoots mail. Like, bam, just like that. You can shoot mail wherever you want. And we need to get 10 of these guys. There's more than 10 in the map, but we just need to choose the 10 fastest ones to do. And then right here...
Also, this is the level that you'll be playing on keyboard as a controller user.
Yes.
Because aiming with a mouse is way more comfortable.
Yes, 100%. So you're going to hit this guy, and then I'm going to turn on a setting that you would normally have. I don't use it because I'm a psychopath, but you want to use this.
Yeah.
Decals. There is a visual cue right here. It's a bit hard to see, but there's kind of a gap, the little diamond shape between this brown bark on the floor. And when you stand here, you aim at that guy way up there. He has an icon over his head. You can barely make it out at this angle though. And what this should do is you hit this guy and then a guy down there below him. Yep, just like that. We got two at once. That is a double shot. And then we're gonna get this guy. And now for a fairly complicated but very cool trick that was found by Mookie fairly recently. Mookie's another very experienced runner for this game. So we want to enter this Snatcher trap right here to collect the Toilet of Doom contract so that we can go to that level soon. And the last guy we're gonna get is right there. And whenever we shoot him with the mail, the timepiece cutscene is gonna play, which spawns the timepiece. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna enter the Snatcher trap and then shoot the mail, and that will temporarily freeze the mail as we sign the contract for the Toilet of Doom, and it's going to overlap the cutscene of the timepiece spawning and the Toilet of Doom contract being signed. So let's go ahead and do that. Aim right here. Looks like we got it. And then we're gonna sign the contract as fast as we can. Just like that, and yep, there's the timepiece spawning in the background. And real fast, what you're going to want to do as this plays, when the timepiece animation finishes and you finish talking to Snatcher, is you're going to actually hold emote wheel. You want to hold down emote wheel, and what that is going to do is there's going to be a menu pop up that happens whenever you complete a contract-based level. Basically saying congrats, you did it. And by holding the emote wheel, we actually get menu storage, which lets us move around while that menu is up. And what that is...
There's also text boxes first, I think you forgot to mention.
Yeah. You want to skip over the text boxes first with the text mash bind first, and then you hold down emote wheel. But yeah, we're going to be able to grab the timepiece while the menu right here is up, and then we can go back to hub during that animation so we don't have to watch the entire jingle of collecting the timepiece, saving about 5 seconds or so. So yeah, here we go. I'm going to hold down emote wheel once I finish talking to Snatcher. Hold it down, and there's the menu storage. It's a bit hard to see, but we're going to make our way to the timepiece, grab it, and then press back to hub as soon as that counter at the bottom left goes to 11. If we do it too early, it won't actually collect the timepiece, and you will have to do the entire level again. So be very careful with that. I've had it happen before. And yeah, you're going to equip...
It is quite tragic.
Yeah. Oh my god, it was a crazy highlight on the stream. But yeah, you're going to want to equip the hookshot again like I did there. And the next level we're going to is the Pipe Blue Rift, which is relatively straightforward. It's also cycle-based, as are most of the Blue Rifts. You're just going to want to sprint, jump, and dive boost over here, climb this pipe, and then dive boost across the purple water here. I messed up, but that's fine. And
now the run is over, you gotta reset.
Yes. So first I'll show off some beginner movement here. You want to do 2 dive boosts across, climb this, do a sprint jump and climb up here, then do that and just sprint jump across here, and then you're going to want to land on top of this gear and dive boost on that section. Climb up here, sprint here, and make it to this gear right here. And then from this checkpoint right here, the beginner route and advanced route are the same, so I'm just going to go ahead and restart IL, use that bind I have, and show off the more advanced movement. And the goal is to make it to a slope. A slope dive boost, momentum dive boost, yeah, off of that spinner. I'm a bit slow here, so I don't think I can quite get it. Yeah, no, not quite. But you'd get a lot of speed if you nail it. And you can save yourself like that if you're a bit too late. But then for the rest, we're just going to make our way across here. Dive boost down here. Be very careful. Try not to hold down the hookshot button there. Otherwise, you'll grab onto the first one. Then you can just go straight into the timepiece. Just like that. And that's the end of pipe. Now, there are 3 very, very heavy explanation levels that are coming up right about now. So if there's any questions to be answered, we can answer them.
I don't really see any that we haven't already answered from the last one.
All right, sounds good. Sweet. So now we're going to be going to the Village Blue Rift, and to get there, we're going to enter through contractual obligations. It's the fastest way there. And we're going to head to the left, actually, over here, behind the big tree, and grab onto this hookshot right here, and then this one. And there's multiple ways to grab this yarn. You can either just like sprint across and grab it, or you can do a dive boost as well, like that. But either way, you're going to want to drop down right here after you grab the yarn. And this is where things with the ice hat get very fun. So yeah, you can like kind of go across here, go to the left of this mushroom to avoid this snatcher trap that's hard to make out. And the village time rift is going to be over there. Another method you can do though is the thing that Kaz mentioned in the intro movement tutorial, is you can do the coyote frame ice hat slingshot like this to get a double jump and go across this mushroom, carrying your speed all the way here. But then on top of that, remember when Kaz mentioned that there are some walls in the game that are strange and constantly push you away from them and don't behave like other walls? Well, that's what that green firewall over there is like. So we can basically...
Yeah, it was like the inverse what you said.
Oh, yeah. Walls that don't constantly push you away.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But we can actually get a very easy to get slingshot off that just by buffering a 1 frame while being against it. So let's see if we can do it right here.
Yeah.
And there's the slingshot.
For a 1 frame jump.
And you
Big
want
speed.
sprint hat, so you don't just randomly ice hat there. But yeah, that's the movement.
That's a common mistake
Yes.
in any sort of ice head, like ice head slide spot.
Yes, shoutouts.
Just forgetting to put your sprint head back on before you hold down hat ability.
Yes, shoutouts to Dynamite with that. Has some legendary clips.
Oh, that clip was very funny.
Yes. But now that we've done that, we're going to get on top of this stump, head onto this gate right here. You can climb it, do some dive boost across here in SDJ. And now for making it up to the rift itself. There's a few ways you can get up there. The most beginner-friendly way is you use these spiders on the right to get up here. And then you can easily climb up to where this rift is. And then the other method is just using a double jump. So as you can see, this ground is kind of slanted, like we're on the lower part here, and there's a higher part up here. And by standing next to the higher part, you can do a well-spaced double jump and dive cancel to actually climb straight up. It does not really work when you're down here because the ground is too low, so you don't get the same height. And then the advanced method that top runners use is a TSJ off this wooden plank right here, just to go straight into the timepiece like that. I mean, the time rift, it's not a timepiece.
It'll become a timepiece very soon.
Okay, true. As for village, we're going to want to dive cancel and hit that bell right there. SDJ here. climb this wall right here and climb up here. In the beginner strat for this level, you're just going to want to sprint jump to this cookie, sprint onto this one, and then dive boost across this box. And you can land on this peg if you're fast enough, and make it up here with either a sprint jump or a dive boost. You're going to go across the spinner, kinda, make it up to the top of the rift, head across these cookies, and then you can hit this bell right here, quickly climb it, and land on top of the dweller box right there if your jump is spaced out enough. You want to try to jump to the most front part of the bell there, which I did not do. I kind of jumped to the side, so I didn't make the jump. But the collision actually goes pretty far out for the size of the bell, as you can see there. So I'll go ahead and try that again. Whenever you
Landing
fail,
on the bell is impossible.
oh yeah, and yeah, you can just grab the timepiece from there. But what if you want to do some advanced movement? There's just a few differences, really, with the advanced route. The beginning is relatively the same. You hit the bell with a dive cancel, dive boost across, STJ up here, hit up here, wall climb, but then instead of going to that third cookie, we're going to do a well-spaced STJ to this cookie, dive boost off this cookie onto the block. And then if you do it right, you can do a DSJ to make it up there ledge grabless. And then you make your way up here. And then what the top runners do is you can actually make it to the timepiece without having to hit the bell whatsoever. You can just jump straight to it. You can do this by either doing a well-spaced double jump and dive cancel, and that would have collected. Or if you're feeling extra fancy and going for some risky time save, you can DSJ off the bell into the timepiece, which is...
that is a very spooky DSJ.
I don't recommend it. I've lost so many runs to it. I've lost so many runs.
Do you go for it in the lagless record?
No, absolutely not.
No?
Absolutely
it's
not.
like 0.5-ish, I think is what it says.
Yeah, something
Maybe
like
0.6.
that. Something like that. Very, very small time save. So now we're going to be heading to the Toilet of Doom, which we unlocked in mail delivery service earlier. And this is going to be a very fast-paced fight with a lot of small manips and a quick kill in the end to explain. So what I'm going to be doing is a lot of pausing in this first attempt of the fight, explaining everything, and then I'm going to go back and do the fight a second time just so you can see everything I explained all together. So we're going to dive boost across, head into the toilet fight. And a general rule with this fight is pretty much everything in this fight is a manip in some form. So he generally likes to spawn across the acid pool here opposite side of you. So like he would spawn here if I were standing here. He spawns here at the beginning of the fight which is still fairly opposite side. But we're going to be using that positional fundamental to kind of manipulate where he goes so that we can do damage to him as fast as possible. But yeah, what we're going to be doing here is we're going to just kind of walk and then sprint to the right here. And we want to, for this phase, get behind him when he spits out those cherry bubbles so that the bubbles actually pop faster and the cherry comes out. Then this one, you just hookshot into him for damage. And then right here, what you're gonna do is wait a sec for him to go in the ground and be ready to grab this hookshot again in the air. And that's going to give you time to actually go over his head when he spawns on the opposite side here. And again, send that cherry bubble backwards to pop faster to get that cherry hit on him faster again. I did it very early there, but it worked.
Yeah, okay.
And then for this this fourth attack where he does 3 jumps instead, you actually want to use the brewer potion, so he spawns on the opposite side of you. And then going into this phase, you can just hookshot over here and hold the brewer in front of him, and that cancels him from doing a large jump in the air to spawn in these bubbles. And these bubbles right here are completely RNG in where they spawn, so this is the RNG phase of the fight. But whatever the RNG is, you want to react by hookshotting into this bubble right here to pop it, and he's going to spawn randomly like over here, maybe over here, or over here. But either way, you want to hit him with that cherry, and he's going to do this 2 times. So I'm going to do it as normal here, but then the second time I'm going to explain some preparation you need to do before that attack to prepare for the quick kill that's going to come right after that second bubble attack. So here, the cherry's in front of me, that's good RNG, but I was a bit slow explaining there, so I wasn't able to hit it first swing. Either way, you're gonna throw the cherry in front of him. And when he does this second attack here, this dark tile right here, the one that's left, the other dark tile, this one, is going to be very key in setting up for this quick kill. So what I recommend doing to make sure you can consistently get here before his third phase starts, which happens relatively fast once you hit him, is while he's spawning these next bubbles, you want to be on the opposite side of it so that when you pop the bubble, you can go ahead and head to this tile real fast before the toilet disappears again and spawns back up for the phase transition. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to run to the right. It's going to take his time jumping here. We got good RNG there. That was very good RNG. And he's going to go into the floor, and I want to quickly make my way here if I can. I'm at a bit of an awkward angle, but I think it kind of worked. We got near where we needed to be, but you want him...
That's good enough.
Yeah, you want him
That's
to
fine.
spawn on like the opposite side in general. And being here is the best spot for it. Now, what we're going to do is, in this phase, he's going to spawn a giant death cherry in the middle of the arena. That when it explodes, it insta-kills you, so you have to get him off the cherry as fast as possible by hitting him. And he actually has no collision with the floor when you do this, but he does have collision with you. So if you can get him on top of your head, you can actually kind of walk him off the cherry, and he just falls through the floor and dies instantly to the kill plane right below. And I'll just be going ahead and showing the visual cues and audio cues for that. So here we go. He's going to jump in the middle, and a bunch of cages are going to spawn. You want to get around to this tile right here, about on this line where I'm standing. And then there's going to be 4 charges that go into this cherry. And after the 4th charge you hear, you want to just walk forward, not sprint. You want to walk forward, just holding forward. And your camera might go a little bit crazy, but if you get the timing right, what'll happen is you just walk forward and the toilet gets stuck on your head, and then he just falls through the floor. So here we go. Let's see if I can get it. There we go. And he dies. And you want to get to this part of the tile right here. This is where the timepiece is going to spawn. The reason we want to get as close to the timepiece as possible is so that we can do another menu storage, since this is a level we spawned with a contract. You wait a sec and you jump in the air. And then what should happen is the menu pops up and our timer is green. If it's green, that means we got it and we can just go straight back to hub. And that's how you do the toilet. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do that level a second time. Since I already did the menu overlap there, the contract won't pop up this time when I grab the timepiece, just as a heads up. But I'm just gonna show off the fight one more time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Additionally, if you do not make it into the timepiece before the timepiece spawns, you can hold the emote wheel like you did with mail delivery service.
Yep, just to get that same menu storage.
Gain menu storage and move around to collect the timepiece.
Yep. So I'm gonna make my way around here, get him to pop the cherry here. You can also sprint while grabbing these cherries for some strange reason. It's odd, but it helps you hit him faster. I'm gonna pop that. Wait a sec. Hook shot over, get over his head. Then use the brew here. But yeah, this is one of the fastest fights in the game without Death Wish. Then he's gonna transition. We get over here, hold the brewer in his face so he doesn't jump. That's very unfortunate RNG.
Death Wish is a DLC for this game, which is like a very hard mode version of this game. It's like a challenge run.
We were on the opposite side of that dark tile, that's good. So now we can just sit here when you phase transitions. We're gonna shift over to the middle of this dark tile about. Start sprinting over and set up for the quick kill, wait for the 4th charge. And walk forward. And he falls down, just like that. And we land in the timepiece. I actually jumped a bit early there. If that happens, the menu is likely to pop up before you grab the timepiece, and you'll have to unpause real fast and you miss the menu storage, which is unfortunate. So just be very careful with that jump timing.
Generally, just like if you're unsure that you were in the timepiece or not, just hold down the emote wheel to gain menu storage.
Yep. All right, so that was Toilet of Doom. And from one quick kill into another, we're going straight into the next big boss fight in this run. So you're gonna make your way over here, and you can actually press this panel while you're just against the wall here and do a boop scope to go straight into the telescope here. And now is
You
when
unlock that because we're going down there later.
Yep. You want to hit that so you can go to Nyakuza later, like he said. Yep. And now we're going into Down with the Mafia finally. Now that we have the ice hat and a bunch of timepieces from Subcon.
Yes.
Do a boop.
This is the entire reason we played lab early.
Yes. You can do a boop going into that cannon to speed up the animation a little, lets you jump out faster. And these Mafia goons, if you are precise with where you end your dive boost, you can actually umbrella and kill them both instead of just one. And you're gonna go ahead and make your way here and press this button. Wait to make sure that you don't hit the button too early. If you hit the button before Mustache Girl hits it, it will not work. It has to be either at the same time or after. And we're going to be showing off two methods to get to the fight itself, getting through Mafia headquarters here. The first one is going to be the beginner method I recommend. You're just going to go ahead and hop onto this chair. Be careful with cans. They can knock you down. Climb that lamp and the bucket we need to get a key that unlocks the rest of the level. And that room over there is right here. Throw the bucket when you collect that last pawn, and you have the key. And we're gonna go through a kitchen here that has the locked door we need it for. Just like this. And there's a yarn up here we're gonna want to grab for later. And then you head through this vent and you're in the throne room section. Now, there's an entirely different way to do that section that the top runners do for this game. So I'm gonna go ahead and show that off. You can skip the need to get that key entirely with a bunch of range things. So first, you're gonna want to do a ledge grab and a vault on these plates right here. And this is where the legendary Brump finally comes in. We're gonna do a trick called Brump Thin, which if we get it right, we should get enough height from the strange brewer jump that will just allow us to clip through the roof and do some movement from there. And it might take a bit because this is a very difficult trick. You have to,
Oh, yes.
Yes, you have to space out your jumps pretty precisely.
Yeah, we don't really understand how this works, and it's very, very inconsistent.
Yes.
But for lagless, it does save a lot of time.
Yeah, in my runs, the amount of ledge grabs it takes for me to do it can range from like 50 seconds lost to first try. Like, just, It's very strange.
World record happens to get it first try, which is very nice.
I almost got it there. I just barely didn't get enough height, though. Yeah, I'm having a lot of trouble there. And I aggroed that Mafia goon, which is unfortunate, too. Because now he's going to be trying to punch me until he dies. Which, that can happen if you do poor timing with it. Yeah, we're not entirely sure how this jump works. It's like the biggest thing. Like oftentimes I feel like I don't get a ton of height with it, like I feel like right now. Other times I get enough height to just get it first try, just like that. It is very
I think you need to delay inputs a little bit more to get more height.
Yeah, I can try that. It is unfortunate it's taking me this long to get it, but it just really goes to show how difficult this trick is and
absolutely.
how strange it is. I'm gonna actually try restarting the level again. There's something strange I've been noticing. It's all just theory though, so I won't bring it up on the stream yet. I'm gonna try another spot you can do this on, actually. See if it helps. I got a lot of height there, at least. There we go, we did it!
There it is.
Alright. Yeah, that took
very,
just
very,
a little
very precise
bit.
trick.
That took just a little bit. But yeah, that just goes to show how difficult the trick is. It's pretty inconsistent. I've developed a general feel for it in the past, but sometimes it just happens very, very late. But either way, once you're on top of this roof, what you do is a TSJ onto the top of this kind of ice room here, into a boop clip real fast, and the chest is open because we opened it earlier, but you would open the chest and zip back up a little. And then on the outside of this vent, there's actually a small volume that sends you into the throne room, and we can just jump onto it and land like that. And from here, we're going to just quickly grab this yarn and the barrel hidden there, breaking it with the brewer. And now this room. This is an interesting room. So there's 2 triggers. This one right here, which is just like right across this door frame. And what it does is, there he is, Mafia Boss. That is the there.
Now
he
you
is.
know where to go.
Yes.
in case you weren't aware.
But the more threatening one, that's not just like minor time loss, is this one right here. 2 gates are now surrounding us, and we're going to get attacked by 2 Mafia goons. And kill them real fast. And then we can proceed to the fight. And we're safe there. But there's a way to skip both of those. When you come out here after dropping the yarn, first thing you want to do is get in this corner right here, facing the pillar. You're going to sprint jump into it to the left, and then you're going to use dive to cancel those wall climbs real fast in rapid succession. To just climb real fast like that, and you're going to jump on top there to get on this frame. And you're going to very carefully jump over here, making sure to stay neutral to not accidentally climb and fall off the wall to your left. Then this one's a little higher up, kind of alongside these curtains. And then we're going to sprint jump over here below this chandelier, and we've skipped all those triggers and gone straight to the fight. Now, Mafia Boss is also quite a bit to explain. He has 2 phases that we're generally going to play through, and then just like Toilet actually, his 3rd phase transition is right when we quick kill him. So for this first phase, he's just going to be doing these laser attacks and kind of spinning across the stage. And after every attack, there is RNG for him to do a specific type of attack that I will show. You can sprint jump on him, but I missed there. So he's going into the laser attack there. You can speed up the animations by jumping on his head some. And then right here is the attack I want to talk about. He goes onto the stage just like this and spawns a bunch of sandbags. That takes about 7 seconds. And then he has a chance to yell just like that too, like he's doing right there. And there is a chance that he can do this 1 each time or up to 2 times each. And that is a bit of RNG. It's completely random. If he does 2 sandbags and 2 yells, it loses about 7 to 9 seconds, I believe, over 1 sandbag and 1 yell. And he can, he has
7 per sandbag and like 2 per yell.
Yep. And yeah, this RNG carries over in this first phase and the second phase. So you can, if you're unlucky, you can end up with 2 extra sandbags and 2 extra yells total for the fight, losing like 14 to 16 seconds, which we just got there. We got we got 2 sandbags, 2 yells. So that's the worst RNG you can get for the first phase, unfortunately. I'm gonna speed up these animations and send them into the second phase. And now the second phase is where we're gonna start preparing for the quick kill. The important thing to know is you obviously want Ice Hat by this point. If you somehow forgot it while you were going through well, you can actually just craft it right here and it's relatively safe. But we want to cause his phase to transition while on the left side of the stage, which is very important because that will allow us to set up for the quick kill while we're all the way over here, because he leaps across the stage. But either way, this phase, he's just going to jump in the back, throw his pizza cutters, and then jump in the middle here. And we're just, again, going to stay on the left side, make sure that when he phase transitions, he's on the left side of the stage. So there we got 1 sandbag, which was nice. And then when he starts phase transitioning, this is where things get a little complicated. You're going to want to be kind of in the middle of this guy who's very happy to be dressed up as a tree. I admire him. He's just so happy. But he's
doing his part.
Yeah, and he's being an important visual cue. So you want to stand You want to stand in the middle here. And what we're going to do is, what he's going to do is he's going to leap across and try to go into his Mafia Ball attack, where he gets a giant Mafia Ball and yells Mafia Ball. Just like that. And so what he does when he gets near you, if you're too close to him while he's getting into the Mafia Ball attack, is before he gets into the attack, he actually says like shoo or away from you, like flinging you across the stage to like make sure you're not too close to him. And what we want to do is abuse a strange property with the Brewer Potion, where the splash effect of it actually has slight collision. And we're gonna get it stuck inside his own collision, so we want to be within the hitbox of the Mafia boss. And when we pull out the Brewer as he goes into his Mafia Ball attack, just like Toilet, he doesn't have collision with the floor in that attack. And it's gonna cause him to kind of weirdly jump in the air and then just fall through the floor and die and finish the fight. So I'm gonna go ahead and showcase that. We're gonna be using the Ice Hat though, to basically cause us to interrupt the fling animation so that we end up inside his hitbox instead of flung across the stage. So here's my attempt here. We're gonna quickly Ice Hat. We're gonna tech. Teching is very important to make sure you can pull out the Brewer Hat in time, and you actually want to pause and then equip the Brewer Hat. Make sure, as you can see, I'm holding shift. Make sure you're holding hat ability at this point, so that the potion comes out as soon as possible, and you're gonna want to unpause and walk left. And then just like that, he's going to fall through the floor because the Brewer Potion interrupt that animation and he dies instantly. And the fight ends just like that.
Perfect.
Yeah, and yeah, that was a bit of a complicated quick kill. As you can see, there's a lot of...
It's a very difficult one. The Toilet one is a much easier quick kill to learn because you just hold forward with an audio cue.
Yes.
But this one has a lot of complicated inputs at once.
Yes, it's going to take a while for you to get it down. You don't have to worry about going for the quick kill. It saves 40 seconds, which is a lot, but it's not necessary to get started in the game still again.
It's very difficult, and it's also combined with Library. You do need to play Library to have access to this quick kill, so those two tricks come together.
Yes, 100%.
Which makes it even less accessible for beginners.
It's definitely one of the harder things to learn going into the run. Like when I was just de-rusting this category for this showcase, I was still struggling with it quite a bit, and it wasn't until recently I finally learned it. But yeah, now that Down with the Mafia is gone, we're going to be going to the Golden Vault next, where I did the little intro movement. And this is a very simple level. There's 4 golden tickets we need to unlock this Golden Vault right here that has the timepiece inside of it. So I'm just going to be doing a bunch of strung together movement tech in order to get these tickets as fast as possible. Starting with a slide off this roof here into a boosted dive boost. Jump off this tightrope to grab that ticket. We're going to dive boost up here. And slide off this statue right at the shoulder blade, hit that balloon, grab that yarn, we'll need it for Dweller later, and then grab that second ticket there. We're gonna dive boost over here, and then there's another yarn in this chest right here we'll need. We grab that real quick, and then continue our way to this boat down here with a little slide. There's the third ticket, and there's another yarn. That's the final yarn for this level. So we're gonna dive boost across those balloons there, and then we're gonna use this ice hat pad right here to make our way to the 4th ticket. Dive boost to the left here. And then using this roof, we're going to do a lag shot. I mean,
not a lag shot.
Oh no. Yeah, no, an ice hat slingshot. I said a dangerous word. No lag in this category. No lag. But yeah, there's our last ticket. And then
who found this shroud? It looks very cool.
Yeah.
I wonder who found it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, shoutouts to Kaz. He's the one who found this route originally. Oh yeah, now we can grab the timepiece just like that, and the golden ball is done. Alright, and next is just going to be a real fast blue rift. It's going to be the sewers, which is right by Golden Vault, so we're going to enter through that. And this is a relatively simple and straightforward level. There's not much to explain because beginner strats and advanced strats are fairly the same, and it's cycle-based. So if there's any questions that we can answer that are waiting, then now's a good time to answer them. It's right there.
You both been doing a very good job. There's not been any questions. You've been explaining things super well.
Thank you.
It's awesome.
Sweet.
There's a cool cycle you can catch there at the start with some movement.
Yep. And then you just want to skip over to the spinner right here. Do some dives across there. Be very careful. You can easily tumble and kind of fall to your death on that spinner if you're not careful. But yeah, you can just make your way to that timepiece and grab it. And then level after this actually has some brand new tech we're going to explain real fast while we're there. We're going to be abusing a system in the game called safe spots and safe in your set position. Is it set position? I don't remember.
It's your safe position.
Safe position, yes. Safe position. So we're going to unlock Heating Up Mafia Town right here. And the goal of this level is there's a bunch of faucets everywhere, indicated by these fire icons that we have to close fully in order for the water to return and replace that lava, and that's how the timepiece will spawn. And so you might be thinking, how do you quickly get across like such a wide map? Like, just look how spread apart these are. Well, we're gonna use a system in this game called the safe position and safe spots. I'm gonna try and find a spot to demonstrate it real fast, I think. I think this is a good spot right here, actually. So, basically, first let me explain what safe spots are and what non-safe spots are. Those are two key terms to understanding this. A safe spot is anywhere where you stand. The game can like set every frame you're standing on it as a safe spot, which basically means if you were to accidentally get stuck on some collision, the game has a failsafe that teleports you back to your last safe spot in order to act as a soft lock prevention. And this soft lock prevention can actually be replicated if you intentionally get stuck somewhere or stay still, unable to move for a specific period of time. So we're gonna go ahead and break this faucet to show it off. But we're gonna mimic a stuck warp by getting stuck under the faucet with the lava bounce, and what that should do is teleport us back to our safe spot on the bricks over there. So we're gonna get stuck under, and as you can see, we teleport back to our most recent safe spot. Now, safe spots, like I said, are set anywhere that is considered safe, where your safe position can update to. And what is a safe spot? Is usually a bit of collision that is perfectly still, that isn't animated in any way. So like these bricks are just...
It is like most floors
Yeah.
are safe spots.
Floors, anything that doesn't like move. So like this is a safe spot. These rocks are a safe spot because they're not animated. They are completely still, static collision. However, bits of collision that have animation to them, that move or anything like that, are considered non-safe spots, meaning you can walk over them as much as you want and your safe spot will not be set on top of them. So as you saw when I hit the faucet, this spinner right here kind of spun around, meaning it is animated. So that's why whenever I did a stuck warp, I did not warp back on top of the faucet, because that is a non-safe spot. It's a little confusing talking about it from the speedrun perspective, because sometimes you're like routing new ideas with safe spots and non-safe spots, and non-safe spots are like technically the safe spots when it comes to manipulating your last safe position. So it gets a little confusing with that. But yeah, that is the soft lock prevention system we're going to be abusing throughout this run, and I will just explain it as I go here.
Yeah.
So first,
additionally,
you got it.
There's you can if you buffer a jump on a safe spot, it will not update your safe position.
Yes.
So if you repeatedly buffer jumps across safe surfaces, they will not update your safe spot.
Yes, thanks for bringing that up, because I was actually about to do one. But yeah, there's a buffer window where you can kind of hold jump just a little bit before you touch the ground, and that basically guarantees... Oh my gosh, hi! I didn't know you existed.
Wait, what?
Whoa.
Okay.
But that basically guarantees you jump off the ground for only one frame, and as long as you touch the ground for one frame, you will not set your safe position, even if it's a safe spot. So I'm going to do it right here to get across that roof that is entirely a safe area. So I'm going to sprint off this and then buffer a 1-frame sprint jump, just like that. And that should have my safe spot still set to the very beginning of the level. We're going to close the faucet and make a step warp right under here. And as you can see, I warp back up. Now we're going to set up another safe spot manipulation. Our goal is to warp back to this top of the stair part right here once we close that faucet and that faucet over there. So we're going to make our way here and actually buffer a dive on the ground by just holding dive before we land. And we're going to make our way to this hook shot and land on top of this tree. Don't grab the heart pond because we actually are intentionally taking damage. So we end at 1 HP at the final faucet before we die for a death warp to get to a faucet after we die. That's much faster, that method. So we're gonna go ahead and get here. These are not safe spots because they are animated platforms that fall when we stand on them. So our safe position is not there. And yeah, we're gonna mimic another step warp there. And then for the last faucet before we die here, you can jump up here and make your way here. And you're just going to do an ice hat slingshot without any coyote frames. You want to stay relatively to the right here and end it pretty late, and if you do it right, it should line up to hit this red balloon right here, and you can just go straight over to this last faucet and land on it at 1 HP.
Yeah, that one is much easier than it looks.
Yes.
You just don't jump out of it at all. You just let go of the ice hat and maneuver into the balloon.
Yep. And as you could see, a checkpoint was set every time we closed a faucet, so all of those faucets are still closed even after we died. And what that lets us do is warp all the way back here with a death to this faucet, which is the last faucet we need to close. So we close that, do another step warp, and then we're going to make our way to this cannon, and that's the end of heating up Mafia Town. It is an incredibly unique level compared to the rest of the game, like so unique, especially in lagless, because you just do so much safe spot manipulation to just kind of teleport around the map and route where you want to warp back after closing faucets. But yeah,
It's very cool.
yes, very sick level. All right, now we're going to be doing cheating the race. This is the level that the game intends you to have time stop for. But you're allowed to enter it still, even though it has a lock on it and warns you like, hey, are you sure you want to enter this level? And yeah, we can just beat it without time stop. And there's multiple methods of doing that. First, I'm going to show off the typical run through of the level and how you do it. So you grab this yarn and you're going to talk to the Mafia Goon. And as this timepiece cutscene starts, this is where you craft the Dweller hat and then pause. And then we're just going to do a bunch of movements strung together in order to make it to the timepiece before this guy on the rocket does. Lots of fancy slides and dive boosts you can choose to do or find substitutes for, whatever works for you. This bird is in the way. Oh my gosh.
How did you navigate around that?
I don't know. That
Incredible.
shouldn't have worked. But yeah, you can slide down there and grab the timepiece like that. And that is one method of doing it.
Yes, that is like the top runner way of doing it.
Yes.
It is very hard for beginners to pull
Yes.
off.
It's a bit
It definitely takes time to get used to.
big roadblock. And if you are having trouble with that, there is actually another method you can use in order to make it. And it's very beginner friendly and just such a cool strat. It was actually found by someone randomly talking in the Boot Troop Discord, and they posted it, and Kaz made a route out of it for beginners. So what you're going to do is dive boost around here, and we're going to do a bit of tech that is really nowhere else in the game. When we hit this hook shot, instead of going across, we're actually going to go up here and up this ladder. And there's a chest down here with a relic in it. When we land next to it, we're going to open our settings and actually turn off auto-skippable cutscenes. Unpause and then open the chest, and we'll be in kind of this animation that's like, look at this delicious burger. And this over here overlaps, and when you confirm that you got it, instead of dying, you can just continue the level without a timer whatsoever and turn back on auto-skippable cutscenes. And then you're just going to kind of slide down this water right here and grab the timepiece, kind of making fun of him not being able to grab it when it's right in his face.
Yeah, it's a very funny strat.
Yes.
Loses around 20 seconds to the normal route.
Yep. And then there's going to be one more thing I'm going to attempt to show off with cheating the race, and that is probably the hardest strategy in the game besides Manor Hover. But yeah, once you...
It's pretty hard.
But with those two routes, once you complete cheating the race, you're going to enter Barrel Battle for Bazaar, and I'll show you the movement to get to the time rift there. You just kind of climb up the opposite way you do in Barrel Battle, dive boost across here, and dive into the rift right there. However, there is some entirely different movement to get to the Bazaar Rift from cheating the race, and it doesn't involve going back to hub whatsoever. This is a trick called CTR Death, cheating the race death. And what you're going to do is intentionally take 2 damage in this fire as you grab that yarn, and then you would craft the Dweller like you would. And there is a bird right by a rock we're going to slide off that we want to get 1 HP from. So he's right there. And then we continue our way to the end of the level as fast as possible. It's a very tight window to make this.
Yeah, we need very perfect movement to make this work.
Yes. And then there's a Mafia Goon here we want to kind of aggro. And he's going to hit us into the timepiece as we die, just like that. And we can instantly retry the level while we collect the timepiece since we're dead. And then we can literally go straight to the Bazaar time rift without having to go through the telescope whatsoever.
This entire sequence saves, like, what, 3 or 4 seconds?
3 seconds. All of that.
3 seconds.
3 seconds. It's like a basically a complete gamble for either killing your run or saving 3 seconds. It's kind of the most absurd small time save in the game.
There's multiple RNG cases at the end as well.
Yes.
For that Mafia guy, and there is an RNG case where he can just walk backwards and then you can't do it.
Yep.
And you have to pick up the timepiece anyway.
That's the very unfortunate one. But yeah, now we're in the Bazaar time rift. And I'm going to go ahead and show 2 routes of doing this. One that's more beginner friendly and one that's pretty advanced. So the beginner-friendly route is you DSJ off this block up here, and you try to get a DSJ off this to make this ledge grabless. You're going to go up here, slide down here, get a boosted dive boost off that pillar, dive boost across there very carefully. Then you're going to DSJ off this cookie, and do an SDJ very carefully as this corner right here comes up, and then you're going to go straight to the timepiece like that. The more advanced strat, however, is quite complicated. You're going to go to the side here, I messed it up, I'll try again. You're going to go to the side here and SCJ straight onto the block. And what you want to do...
This thing is very hard.
Yes. And get the DSJ even earlier there. It's hard. It is a difficult strat. There we go. And what that lets us do is just kind of get across there a little faster, which we're going to need for a cycle at the very end of this level. Oh, that is unfortunate. I got an edge bug there, which is where you kind of lose all your momentum and get a strange animation. If you're going off like right on a ledge into coyote frames at the same time. So we're going to try that again. That's also unfortunate. If I have too much trouble, I will just like go to the end and wait for the cycle instead of like trying to make it. We're gonna do a non-dive boost here just to roll out on the floor for spacing. Oh. Alright, last try, and then I'll just go to the end to show it off. Yeah, I'm just gonna go to the end. So... if you do all that right, there's going to be a cycle on the block that the timepiece is linked to at the end that you can actually make with a slide into the timepiece, which is incredibly stylish. So I'm like watching the side that I need to slide off of, kind of waiting for the timing. So you would slide on this side right here as it's like kind of slanting there. And yeah, you'll slide into the timepiece and collect it if you make it. It's a little
that's a cycle that saves 2 seconds. Very hard.
Yes. It's a little unfortunate I did not get it super easily, but I think it just goes to show how difficult that cycle is to make, honestly. And now we're going to be going to Nyakuza, which is very exciting. We're going to go down the tunnel that we unlocked earlier, right before Down with the Mafia. Use a dweller hat here. And this is an interesting boot scope, actually. This is a manhole that we actually need to use Ice Hat for to get down. So we're going to do a boop scope here, and then buffer up left, and then use the Ice Hat, actually. And we go through just like that. It's kind of skipping the sound effects of it being completed. Now, Nyakuza has a lot of out-of-bounds movement, but it's actually relatively straightforward, except for one trick I'm going to take my sweet time explaining. That is such a cool trick found by Doka. And it was kind of the catalyst for grinding for 33 and is what really made it seem more possible. Saves about 8 seconds.
Yeah, for standard 90%.
Yep.
Not this category.
Oh, I forgot I was going to show some split movement there, actually. Here, I'll go ahead and do that. So there's 2 available options here for this first section. I kind of spoiled the advanced one, unfortunately. Kinda, not quite. But one is just going straight into this cat, dive boosting across. You would normally land on that train. And then you're gonna dive boost into this cat here. Head across here, slide on down. And you can skip that mode entirely and just wall jump up here to make it here. And ideally get a good train cycle where you kind of climb on the back of the train to make it work. But then the advanced...
These trains are extremely cursed,
yes.
by the way. They are kind of dependent on your CPU. It's very bad.
Yes, there's no consistent cycles with these trains whatsoever. But yeah, I spoiled the other method, but yeah, we're gonna time a jump with this cat head. I was a little late there, but at the beginning of that blue cat head I kind of jumped by, you're going to do a sprint jump into a boop, which will get you stuck on some collision in a weird state, and you wait until you touch the ground again with the train below you. And then jump in. Kind of dive boost across, crawl your way under here and climb the train again. And then you're literally just going to sprint jump across, and there's a trigger right here you hit. And you make it up. And that is a beautiful train cycle. Oh yeah. Oh my goodness. That's what a good train cycle looks like. Because look, I can just sprint across as we exit here. Okay. Now this guy is amazing. He's so cool. So he's the main station timepiece, but we're actually not going to collect it yet. We're going to do a very specific sequence to kill him, where we sprint jump at him with a brewer charged and do 3 umbrella hits. And then throw the potion, and you kind of jump up that way. And there's a reason we don't collect this timepiece, and it's a bit complicated to explain. But basically, the way this area works is when you complete a timepiece and collect a timepiece, there's a sequence where the animation plays, and then you're sent back to a jewelry store over there to the Empress, a cat lady who just gives you money for collecting timepieces. And in between that animation of collecting the timepiece and collecting and going to the jewelry store, there's actually a brief moment where your position is actually at the default spawn of the map. Like the default spawn of free roam, default spawn of pretty much everything if something goes wrong. And that spot just so happens to be right there. And look where the timepiece is. And we have a brief moment to do some movement there. So essentially what we're gonna do is abuse that brief moment and do a cutscene overlap with collecting that timepiece and saying hello to the Empress after collecting another timepiece. We're not gonna do it on this one yet. We're gonna do it after the second timepiece we collect, so that we can get a better visual cue with a trick that works only at that second timepiece. But yeah, that's the yellow.
That movement, by the way, is very, very cool.
Oh yeah, big time. So to get to the yellow manhole timepiece, we're actually not going to go to the yellow manhole itself, but rather we're going to use a silly little boop clip. Dive boost around here, where you would normally go to yellow overpass. And on this fence right here, we're going to do a boop clip in between the These two gray spots right here, you're gonna do your vault to avoid hitting a kill volume that sends you either down to bluefin or back up top here. So here we go. Just like that. You're gonna make your way across here. Kind of get a slide on this weird roof collision down to this very big chunk of a default texture. And you see a little glow down there, and that's actually where the yellow manhole level is. This is where a lot of the manhole levels are. And we're gonna do another boop clip, do a bit of a hat wheel to get more speed into it. And there's the timepiece right there, we spun right on it. Now, when you grab this timepiece, you actually want to use the boop, not just for silly style points, but it has a technical purpose this time. It lets you see where you are relative to the timepiece to prepare for this trick. And for this trick, we're going to pause right as the animation ends. And what this is going to do is it's going to reduce lag, which is very important for making sure our inputs for quickly grabbing this timepiece for the brief moment that we're in this default spawn will not get eaten and we don't miss the timepiece. So I'm going to unpause and hold down left and then very quickly start jumping. And hopefully I will grab the timepiece as I start talking to the Empress. And there we go. The music plays and the counter goes up at the bottom.
Good.
And then we wait a bit before skipping this dialogue, and it causes the dialogue to overlap here in the next cutscene. And that is the main station timepiece overlap. It is...
It's such a cool trick. It's
so cool. The trick itself is not too hard to do. Explaining the trick though, oh my gosh, that's so hard to do. I really hope it was fairly clear, or there were some parts that make sense, because it's pretty difficult to comprehend.
Yeah. If there's any questions about it, go ahead.
Yes, 100%. But for now, we're just going to be doing the green clean station. There's two routes for this as well. One is going in the mud and getting that cat right there to bounce you up. And you jump into this cat, you climb up this little section right here. And then at the very top and middle of this roof, you're just gonna sprint off and it should warp you up here. You'll go across this kind of green wall here, SDJ up here, and you're gonna dive boost into the cat and get across the train right here and into the green clean timepiece. As for the advanced strat though, there's a lot of very cool jumps you can do instead. Two in particular that save a lot of time. Or one in particular that does. This one's a minor time save. Instead of taking the cat, you can actually do a TSJ up there, which is hard to see because someone likes talking about the perfect comfort food.
The review really gets in the way.
Oh yeah, big time. And instead of going on that volume, if you're very good with your SDJ spacing, you can actually make it just barely to this bit of collision right there. I was a bit too far left, and being too far left causes you to kind of slide down like that. But if you're far right enough, there's a tiny bit of invisible collision you can kind of stand on and get another jump off and just jump straight to the timepiece. Just like that, and there's the green clean timepiece.
Very hard jump.
Yes, it's pretty precise and takes a lot of good spacing. I miss it a lot in attempts, for sure. And now we're going to be doing the green manhole timepiece, which, beginning-wise, is the exact same route to get to the yellow manhole timepiece. We're just gonna make our way down here. Do the same boop clip and just go in a slightly different direction. That's unfortunate, but that can happen if you boop a little bit too late, so just be careful with that boop timing for sure, especially when clipping to the timepieces themselves.
Yeah, for a boop club, something I think I forgot to mention is you need to boop before the ledge grab. It's very important.
Yes, that is a very important thing. But we're gonna make our way down here, dive boost off this very hard to see tunnel. And the green manhole timepiece is actually over here. You can kind of see
Very nice of them to glow so brightly.
Oh yes, big time. We're gonna do a boop clip right here. And just kind of run inside this invisible wall and straight to the timepiece. And that is all of Nyakuza, and we are now able to go to finale. So while we're setting up for going to the finale, if there's any questions that need to be answered, now is the time to ask them, because finale is going to be a pretty rapid fire level.
It looks like everybody's been following along pretty well.
That's awesome. That is great to hear. Yeah, there's this sequence with Mustache Girl where she steals your timepieces and becomes God. And we have to play as Mustache Girl to make her become God. And now when we go back to our spaceship, we're gonna head back up, do some dive boosts, and get across a dweller wall here. And we're gonna see in the window here, everything's on fire. That's not good. So we're gonna go up this elevator and deal with that fire. Do a boop scope here. And at this section right here, there's going to be a little bit of a puzzle in order to get this gate down that's guarded by this eyeball who really likes looking at unsolved puzzles. And he will go away when the puzzles are solved. But you normally need to use the brewer here. That's one thing that gets out of the way. And then you use the dweller here. There's a button here you hit. And then there's a button up here you use with Ice Hat. You kind of bonk into it. And it does not lose much time whatsoever to do these puzzles, which is a very good thing because the fastest way to get across this gate involves a TSJ, and a very well spaced and precise TSJ. That's kind of hard to see the visual key for. We're going to get on top of this clock and do a TSJ off this clock, and there's a tiny space right around here in between the chandelier and the slant of the roof that we can actually barely squeeze through to make it straight to this telescope, skipping the gate puzzle entirely. And we get it like that. And now we can go straight into the finale level without having to do that puzzle. And
That is a very, very stressful jump,
yes, very much.
especially if you're on pace.
So the gauntlet itself is a relatively straightforward and linear sequence of movement. There's one cycle at the beginning in particular that you want to be very careful with. And then there's another cycle at the very end of the gauntlet that you can kind of control, but it's relatively hard to tell what it's going to be like by the time you get to the end of the gauntlet, since it is a 2-minute level of nothing but movement. We're going to dive boost on this pillar, get on top of this one, take a damage boost here, and hit a recovery volume that sends us straight up here. And all of these damage boosts are also intentional for a skip later when we hit the fight. But this is pillar cycle right here. I just barely made it to that pillar in time due to having fast enough movement, and I was able to just straight jump across. We do something similar here where we just jump across and grab that hook shot. I put my camera left there so those flamethrowers are at a friendlier position for me to kind of dive boost through. It loads them in a lot slower. And yeah, it's just pretty simple movement. You just kind of watch me do. It takes a lot of practice basically to get all this down. There's a little sneaky dive boost you can do there on top of that pillar. And then I'm going to show off 2 different ways to do this section past the dweller wall. And this...
Here's this dweller wall sucks.
Yes, this wall is pretty much the sole reason, and another one kinda, that we need to craft the dweller hat. There's not really a fast way to get around it that we found yet. Excuse you? Oh my goodness. I'm in a tutorial. Watch it. But now we're in this section right here, and the goal of this is, again, there's a guy who really likes watching unsolved puzzles, and when we kill the owl, apparently we solve a puzzle, so he's happy and the gate goes down when they're all dead. But we can obviously skip this with a bit of a skip across the gate. And there's 2 different ways to get across this gate. One is called left side, where you get on top of this railing right here, and you do an STJ to get on top of here, and then you just kind of walk off with a sprint to get on this hammer handle and make it across there like that. I was trying not to get hit by an invisible cat there. And then the other method is the method that a lot of top runners use, which is called right side. It's basically the same idea as left side. You get on top of the gate, but just with a much more precise movement and specific ways of doing it. So you're gonna dive boost over here, time a sprint right about there, and do a DSJ off there, and then a DSJ off here. Both are pretty difficult DSJs to get down, and it's very risky to do, especially starting out, because you can fall and lose a lot of time, so I don't particularly recommend
Yes, it's definitely not. It's only really necessary if you're trying to catch a specific hammer cycle at the end.
Yes, 100%. You're gonna dive boost across those balloons, do a bit of a scary dive boost right here, in between the flamethrowers, and this right here is hammer cycle. We got a good cycle, we can dive boost on top of this, and just slide off this hammer for a lot of speed. And that's gauntlet essentially, and then we just walk over there and get slapped in the face and the fight starts. Now for this section right here, you want to be at either 2 HP or 1 HP, because there is actually a strategy here in the sequence of the fight that lets you skip a massive auto scroller of the fight. So this is the throne room section of the Mustache Girl fight. She has 5 HP in this part of her fight, and our goal is to die at the same time we hit that 5th hit on her. And there's 2 ways of doing that. There are 2 attacks that it works with. One is a torpedo attack where she kind of goes in the air and then spins at you straight forward across the throne room. And the other is a teleporting attack where she teleports and then slaps you in the face at the end of her teleports. And then she has 2 other attacks she can do. One where she kind of teleports away, goes into this purple circle, and then kind of jumps on top of you after a timer. And then another one where she jumps in the air and throws timepieces at you as an attack. And you cannot do that trick with either of those. If the underground purple circle kind of one happens, you can wait out the attack and try to see if you can get a torpedo attack or teleport slap attack 6th. But if you get a timepiece attack 5th or a timepiece attack 6th after the underground attack, you cannot go for this trick because by then you would be losing time due to how slow that attack is, and you're better off just killing her on the spot. But we're going to go ahead and see what RNG we get to see if we can get the trick or not. So I'm at 2 HP, and the other place you're going to take damage is a timepiece attack she does right here, so I'm just going to stay still, and I'm guaranteed to get hit there. And then the attack she does here is underground. We're going to wait and see what we get here. And we get timepieces.
No shot.
Yeah, we get...
That's 11%?
Yep.
Worst RNG?
Yep. So yeah, that's the worst RNG you can get by far. It loses like 18 seconds. So I'm going to go ahead and try the fight again to show off the best RNG. Mustache Girl fight. Yeah, that resets it. You can, to practice this, you can type Mustache Girl fight, and it just takes you right before the fight. And then you can also type critical health in the console, and that'll put you at 1 HP.
It's worth mentioning that some of these commands are not in the base game. You'll need to install a mod called Console Commands Plus, which is made by Epic Yoshi Master. Shoutouts.
Yes, big time shoutouts to her. She did amazing with those commands. They're so useful for speedrun practice. Very good mod. Oh yes. So yeah, let's try to get better RNG. That is the worst RNG you can get, as you saw there. And when we're at 1 HP, we just want to avoid getting hit by the timepiece attack instead of damage taking it to get at 1 HP, and that's pretty easy to do. Just kind of jump in the air like that. Is this underground 5th? I didn't count properly, I think.
I didn't count either, but...
You did the torpedo.
Hopefully.
Yep. Oh, no. Yeah, that was the 4th attack.
No, that was 4th. we forgot how to count.
I forgot to count in the middle of explaining. I meant to do critical health there. There we go. All right. Now that I've explained that a little, I'm going to actually count this time and make sure I die on the 5th hit and not the 4th. But what you saw there was the idea of the Torpsy trick, where she does the torpedo attack. And that's what it would look like, basically. But she would also die. And we got timepieces 5th, which is, again, unfortunate. For the sake of showing off the trick, though, I'm going to try and wait out this attack, even though it is time lost to do so. And there's Slapsy. That is the slap teleport attack we can do the same trick off of, and that's the Slapsy variant. So yeah, those are the 2 variants of the quick kill. And now we're in the hyper zone phase, and for the first phase, she's just gonna kind of show off her powers. There's not too much time save we can do here besides hitting her fast and kind of knocking her out of the sky with the brewer potion. When she goes into the air, you can do that. And then as she transitions here, she's going to start teleporting across the arena with her laser, basically keeping her distance from you to transition into the second part of the fight. And you can actually hit her really fast with a well-spaced brewer to get into that part earlier instead of having her teleport over and over. And in this section, the conductor gets angry at her spacing you out and being a lame fighter, so he gets the Mafia Ball himself. And
who is this character? I don't think we've seen this character before.
Haven't seen the what?
The conductor.
Oh yeah, we haven't seen the conductor. We kind of skipped the conductor. He's in the yeah, he's a cool character. He's in the birds level. He yells a lot. He likes Smash Bros too, and Persona. He's a cool character.
Is that canon? I didn't know that. That's crazy.
No.
No, you just made that up? I got baited. Oh my god.
Yeah, but for this part of the fight, Mustache Girl is going to go in the air and do the timepieces attack. And when she does that, we're going to hit her with the brewer potion. Then she'll go into the laser attack, and we can't reach her without a well-spaced brewer or hitting the Mafia Ball. And hitting the Mafia Ball is fast, so we're going to hit the Mafia Ball in between those hits. So here we go with that. That didn't even aim. Dang. There's the hit. And then there's the Mafia Ball. Here's another brewer. And then here's the last Mafia Ball hit. And now we're going... Oh, you got
The brewer has a pretty big auto aim for you, which is useful.
Yes, it's very nice. Very, very nice for stuff like that. And now we're going into probably the heaviest RNG section in the run by far. Arguably even more so than Throne Room potentially. This is the cherry phase. And so they're going to sign a contract. He's going to give him cherries to throw. Now he's contractually obligated to throw cherries in a rainbow circle for the rest of his life. But she has a shield now. She decided she was tired of us using the brew cheese, so she's like, I have a shield now, you can't hit me. But then they're like, we got you, and they're gonna throw explosive cherries into the arena, and we're gonna use those to break down the shield. She has 8 health in this section, and so you want to hit her 8 times to end the section, and after every time you hit her, she has a random chance of spawning the shield in again, meaning you have to wait for these two to set up a cherry and throw it at you again, losing quite a bit of time. And typically the slowest amount it can take if you get all the cherries hitting her properly is 4 cherries, which means she basically insta-shield after almost every single attack. And the lowest you can get is a single cherry. So if we get a 1.5% chance here, we can just break the shield and hit her over and over and over again. She never shields again and the phase ends, but that's a 1.5% chance, so we're more likely to get either a 2 cherry or 3 cherry. So we're gonna hit her here. And you saw right there, I actually managed to hit her twice, and that's because there is one attack that she does in this phase called Underground, where she kind of goes into a purple circle, but it takes her a bit to actually get in that animation, so there's a chance that if she does that after a shield breaks or after another attack, you can actually get a double hit there, which is very fast and nice to get.
By the way, you get those double hits by just buffering a umbrella hit as you hit her.
Yeah, it's pretty easy.
And you can also get multi-hits like that in the Throne Room phase.
Wow. Okay, I got...
Wait, that was very fast.
Yeah,
What?
I got 2 cherry, 2 double, which is like...
That's very good.
Yes, that is like some of the best RNG you can get. You are very happy if you get that in a speedrun. Extremely happy. So we're going into the last phase of the fight. In this phase of the fight, our friends are sick of the lasers, so they're going to start punching each other, turning into hearts. How sweet of them. To infinitely heal us while Mustache Girl just goes kind of crazy with power. It's a very chaotic phase. And she has a lot of very fast attacks she can do, and there's timepieces everywhere. But what you mainly need to know is there's one attack in particular she can do called Shockwaves, where she stomps around and kind of jumps all over the arena very fast, and it's very hard to hit. So what's very ideal is if you can jump in the air before an attack and throw a brewer potion while you're above her so that the brewer hits her and you can buffer a homing attack on her at the same time. And if she does shockwaves after you do that, then what happens is she gets hit by the brewer, she goes into shockwaves, but before she can barely do anything in shockwaves, you're already homing, attacking, and then hitting her right away. So we're gonna go ahead and see what RNG we get here. It's completely random which ones she does. Here we go. There's the timepieces attack. So we're gonna get a double here. That's what it looks like. We kind of homing attack straight to her. And unfortunately, she did the shockwaves attack out of a timepiece attack there, which means it is impossible to double out of unless you wait for her to land on the ground again after a timepiece attack. You can either wait for that to happen so you can go for a double, or if you're feeling risky like me, you can risk possibly missing a double and then having to just chase her down as fast as possible. But yeah, when she does timepieces, that's the one attack you cannot instantly go for a double out of because she's too high in the air for you to homing attack her. You need to be above her for a homing attack. I caught it right there, luckily, before the attack ended, and that's the end of final phase. And the end of finale in general.
And the end of the run.
The end of the run.
We made it.
Yep. And yeah, that's how you speedrun a hat in time. You just do a dive boost here and a sprint jump and collect the timepieces, and that's the end of the run. And I got an extremely valid and submittable speedrun of a 1:42.42 with zero cheats whatsoever used.
Definitely.
Yeah, the world record of this run though is 35 minutes and 36 seconds. I got it yesterday actually, preparing for this. Yeah, thank you. But yeah, do you want to take a bit of a break?
Yeah, we can do that real quick. Somebody was asking, can the Brewer's double be used in other phases of that fight?
Yes, to answer that. But there is a bit of a kind of issue with it.
There is a caveat, yeah. You kind of don't want to do that.
Yeah, so...
Even though you can.
Yeah, so in the cherry phase, you actually can do brewer doubles. That is true. You can brewer double her when she goes into an underground attack or when she goes into a shockwaves attack. However, you don't want to do that, and there's a big reason why. On older versions of the game, it's been patched recently, but if you actually hit her when she's going into the underground attack, like the frame she teleports away, what's gonna happen is next time she does an attack that can cause her to kind of go up and down, she will literally just go through the floor. And because her fight is scripted differently compared to Mafia Boss and Toilet of Doom, she's going to hit the kill plane, but nothing will progress. You're completely soft locked, and you have to do all of finale all over again to get to that point again. So it's absolutely not worth going for in speedruns.
Yeah, nobody does that.
Yeah, unless you have the RNG patterns completely memorized, but that takes a lot of time, and it's just not really worth going for at all.
Yeah, even then I still don't do that.
Yeah, me neither. But yeah, that's to answer that question. You can do it in cherry phase, but please don't. For your sake, please do not do that.
Very valid.
Yes.
All right. We are going to take a quick break just before a few quick reminders. Your subs, Prime Gaming subs, gift subs, and Bitch Cheered on the GDQ Twitch channel do help support the Games and Quick Hotfix. So if you like any of the content we put on, if you like these speedrun tutorials, we've got a horror game horror games afterwards. If you like any of the content we do, it really does help us put this stuff on. As well, the SGDQ 2023 schedule is out now. You can go to gamesdonequick.com for more information, or you can use !SGDQ in chat. With that said, we're going to take a few-minute break here. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Games Going Quick Hotfix. This is How to Train a Speedrunner. We just had a really excellent tutorial of any % lagless, a hat in time. We are going to get into a run of the game. Before that, though, Kaz had something he wanted to talk about.
Yes, so I've been working on a pretty big project for many, many hours over the past 5 or 6 days that I wanted to reveal real quick. And it's a playlist that essentially will have everything you need to know to set up the game and get started with running it. It has a downpatching guide, a video for game settings and mods, guide on rebinding and the automatic text mesh, guide on the practice tools, and an entire uncommentated playthrough of a beginner route for the lagless run with text clarifications in the video descriptions. And also some additional commentated tutorials for some of the more difficult tricks like the toilet quick kill, the beginner cheating the race strat, and boob clubs. And for the future, I do plan on expanding upon this playlist a little bit more, making maybe some more commentated stuff and such.
Yes.
So all of this will be in a single playlist on my YouTube channel, Kazoru, and in the speedrun.com page for this game under the guides tab. And I'll be making this playlist public right after we go offline later.
Yeah, and he's been working on all of that and got it all done in a week. That's crazy. Just made a full-on tutorial and guide for people to follow alongside this VOD if they got interested in running any % lagless as a result. That's just amazing.
Yeah, I've been hyperfixating on this project quite heavily. Actually, I can make it live right now.
Yeah, why not?
I'll unprivate everything.
Sounds good. And then before we head off, we're actually going to do one more run through of the game without any of the pausing or cheats used, to showcase different things throughout the run, just so you can see everything I talked about in one smooth sequence. And while I do have a run of this game that is good to follow by, I thought this would be a good idea to include afterwards, just so you can see different examples of like things going wrong. Which is really important for being able to learn efficient backups for missing very punishing tricks like fight skip or toilet quick kill, all of that. So I thought it'd be a just great idea to do a little commentated run at the end here. It'll take about 40 minutes or so RTA, and that should be the end of the showcase. So are we good to get started on that? No questions or anything? All right, cool.
All set to go. You just want to give us a countdown, either of you?
Oh yeah, sure. Okay, run's gonna start in 3, 2, 1, go. All right, here we go. We're gonna go through Welcome to Mafia Town again, and I will be doing all of the advanced movement pretty much, since it's what I know best. Here's an example of getting the slide in that spaceship, which I was not able to do starting the tutorial. And I'm gonna go for the roof slide here, buffering a jump right here. Got the slide and made it over the tightrope. And the rest is relatively simple. I just collect these pawns right here. Craft the hat as soon as I land that hit on the Mafia goon. You want to craft it pretty fast, otherwise there is going to be time where you can control Hat Kid without the cutscene going on, where the craft animation is finishing, and it won't be a fully efficient overlap. So just be very fast with that hat craft. And I'm gonna go for lap early now here. You can do a little slide off this as well. Pretty fancy. There's a good chance I fall right here, but I did manage to get it, which is good. If you're not careful, you can fall, like if you have too much forwards velocity going into the ledge grab. It's a pretty precise one. And here's going for all the lap stuff relatively fast.
Alright, so the playlist I was mentioning should be public and live now.
Sweet! Yeah, there's tons of references you can use there for getting started on this game. Like the down patching guide and the tools guide, setting up text mesh, all of that is extremely useful also because we very vaguely covered any of that. This is more so just a tutorial fully on the gameplay itself and not setting up any of that. So highly recommend you check those out alongside this VOD and some other gameplay elements in there that more clearly cover some of the beginner strats that I might have missed. It's just a great resource to use alongside this as well.
Yes. Although keep in mind that it is uncommented gameplay for the most part in that playlist right now.
Yes.
And I do plan on expanding upon it
Yep.
in the future. And I will be adding this Totfix VOD into the playlist as well when it goes live on the GDQ YouTube channel.
Yep, it's all gonna be nice and binded together. Super cool stuff. You did so good with that playlist.
Yeah, I could rest now.
Yes, oh my
For a
goodness.
little bit at least.
You set like deadlines for yourself, I believe, before the showcase, because you just wanted a majority of like the route to be available, and like the most necessary tools before the showcase. So you could just kind of drop it alongside the tutorial here. Oh. Missed an SDJ there. That was an example of an SDJ input being done too early. As you can see, because I did not really sprint early enough before going for a jump, I just did a sprint jump instead. The other example, like was mentioned in the intro tutorial, was where okay, I did craft it, just making sure. Is where you release it too late and you just get a regular double jump instead of an SDJ. But now we're going to be going into the barrel battle, which is relatively an auto-scroller besides the beginning. And I wonder if the yarn, if we can actually get RNG where the yarn falls into the river, because I would love to show the best way to react to that unfortunate RNG, but it is pretty rare, so we'll see. Nope, we actually got the best RNG. How sad.
Yeah, it was very unfortunate.
So unfortunate. The idea though, when the yarn kind of falls down the fence, it goes kind of down the river below. Oh, again.
What did happen again?
Yeah. That was interesting. But it goes kind of down towards the river below, and you can grab it when it hits the bottom there. And there's actually a pair of staircases that you saw me go across in cheating the race. And you can do a little slide, just barely on the slant of those staircases, and go straight into the barrel battle, just like that. As a recovery.
Do not think about avoiding barrels.
Oh, by the way, I did not teach this, but the way you smug dance, if you don't know, is on 1, you have an emote that goes bleh and taunts people. On 4, you have a kiss. And if you do them both rapidly at the same time, you get into a smug dance. So that is your tutorial on how to smug dance. It's very
We
important.
completely forgot to mention that, yeah. It's very important.
This is like the most important thing in the run, honestly.
On controller, the default bind for that is up and down on your D-pad.
Yeah, so you rapidly do up and down on the D-pad.
You will also need, I think, one of the DLCs is required for that.
Yes, it's new. Is it Yakuza?
I think it's actually the first DLC.
Oh
that's
yeah,
required for
actually,
that.
yeah, because you do use the kiss emote in Bon Voyage. That is correct.
Yeah.
So you need the seal the deal to be able to smug dance. It is seal the deal DLC. It is very important for that. All right, now we're gonna go to DBS. I was relatively slow explaining the movement with DBS, so hopefully this goes well because it looks so cool when it all flows together. It looks so
Yeah,
nice.
this is a very stylish level.
Yeah, it's very, very satisfying to watch. Here's the DSJ. That was a bit scary. It was pretty far right there. Good momentum, STJ. Like, I just love how clean that in particular looks. It looks so clean.
It's so nice.
It just
This
flows.
SCJ as well is so cool.
Yes. There's just like, there's just so much in this level that flows together. It's so nice. There's rarely ever like any moments you have to like stop your forward momentum. Like that right there, that's like the only moment, really. That's all, really. Like you just go, it's so nice. Can I get the dive
Dive
boost
boost
into the
there.
volume there? And we're gonna go ahead and hit the done button as fast as possible. Here we go. Ah, I missed it barely. Kaz actually has a clip of getting that done button in, was it 5 frames? You like,
Yeah.
you clicked it in 5 frames. It was ridiculous. It just looks exactly like a task. It's so silly.
I was very lucky. I was
Yeah.
very surprised.
Oh yeah, a fast done button saves so much at like a top time though, like going for world record individual level times and stuff. All right, now we're gonna go to picture perfect here, get those 2 yarns, become a celebrity on the moon for the sake of speedrunning.
Can you run this game if you are not a celebrity on the bin?
I don't know actually. Make a picture perfect list category extension.
God.
Yeah. Minimum diva.
Well, you just play murder instead of picture perfect.
Yeah.
Or mafia cooks or something.
Yeah, because you're gonna be so much tighter on pawns.
Minimum diva.
Yeah, minimum diva percent is what you'd call it.
Oh my god.
Because you get so much pawns in this level, it'd be interesting to see how you'd have to do it. Oh, I don't have a timer here for visual cue. That's right. About there. Kinda, yeah. When you have splits for this game actually on the side, if you have the segment timer available, it's actually really nice for visual cues, looking at the segment timer to tell like when you start a pause for going back to hub, when you start a pause for the main station timepiece overlap. It can be very nice tool for learning that stuff.
I personally cannot do the main station overlap without my splits open.
Yeah.
I literally can't do it.
It's definitely
But I made a tutorial
trickier.
for it. I had to have my splits open. I tried like 5 times and couldn't get it.
Yep. I go entirely by feel for the most part. With that.
I have no idea how you do that. Since
It's like ingrained in my head. It's just like I have this natural instinct for when I'm supposed to pause.
the main station instinct.
Yes, but not really. It's just like I kind of time it with when this little timepiece thing in the middle right there disappears. That's when I pause generally. That's my actual timing for it. It's not an
How
instinct.
do you react to it?
I kind
Good
of
enough.
guess when it's gonna disappear, so maybe it is
Okay.
instinct. Does that count as instinct? I don't know.
Yes, because that's also how I tried to time it when I don't have splits, and that did not work for me.
Okay, fair. I guess it's instinct.
I would always press it too early or too late.
Yeah. Alright, this one's gone pretty good so far. But we're entering Subcon Forest, and if you could pick it up from how I was talking about in tutorials, Subcon is an incredibly punishing world. It's got some of the harder tricks in the run, and messing up can just lose you a lot of time compared to other worlds in the run. So whenever you're learning the game and pick it up, just give a lot of time and patience with Subcon. It's very tricky to get down and causes a lot of chokes for everyone.
Yeah, it is a very hard world to run.
Yeah, you have contractual obligations, learning the poop bag skip, learning the tricky outside, like movement outside the well. Manor, however, if you go for that, is very hard. Toilet of Doom quick kill is a bit to get down. Village entry, doing it very fast is tricky too. There's a lot of tricky stuff. Even pipe's a little hard, honestly. It can be very punishing if you don't make it to the checkpoint before falling. Like the first checkpoint in pipe is actually really far away. It was basically whenever I showed the branched paths of like different movement you could do in like the beginning of the section, where I was restarting to like show the advanced movement and the beginning movement, that's literally the first checkpoint in the level. Anywhere you fall before that, you're going like, well, actually, no, there is a second checkpoint. I forgot. You're going behind the like big gears that spin around, which is still really far away. Yeah, I was completely wrong on that, but it's still very punishing, I would say.
I forgot about that checkpoint as well,
Yeah.
actually. Because
I
it's
just
like
spread
I don't think I've ever fallen there.
propaganda. Oh my gosh.
Oh no!
I
I'm
accidentally
gonna
lied.
misinform the new runners.
I'm so sorry, y'all. I promise there's 2 checkpoints in pipe.
Oh, the
Is there
TSJ.
3? Oh yeah, you can do a little TSJ there to optimize. I showed a double jump off a wall jump on the branch because that TSJ is extremely silly. It's a very silly time save and pretty tricky. But
Yeah.
I'm just going for tons of stylish stuff, really, to kind of show what the game looks like without pauses or breaks and stuff like that. And honestly, it has like some of the most just like back-to-back flow, like flowing movement, and like any game I've ran, it's so satisfying to play in general. Like the devs did just fantastic with the movement physics in this game and your abilities.
Very snappy and responsive. It's pretty good.
Yes. So fun to speedrun.
It definitely spoiled me, this being my first speed game. My standards for other speed games are quite high.
Yeah, I just cannot get into like, whoa! That was scary.
Whoa!
Oh my
Coyote
gosh,
Temple.
yeah. I just cannot get into like other 3D platformers super easily. Like this one is just so smooth.
It also has an in-game timer.
Yes, very nice too. So I went for a pickup SDJ there, which is where you pick up a object and do an SDJ alongside it, which is a frame perfect jump. And if you miss it, you can either just not pick up the object and do an SDJ past it, or if you're too late like that, you just pick it up and kind of walk forward, which is very scary there. Because as you saw, I just barely reacted in time while I was in coyote frames to not fall all the way back down the well. So that's a bit of a scary pickup SDJ to go for sure.
Yeah, pickup SDJs are inputted, like, you pick up the item, and then the frame after you jump while holding sprint.
Yep. Alright, let's see how this goes. I got lucky with Manor Hover in the tutorial. Will I get lucky with it this time?
Those wings look dubious.
Ew.
Oh,
Oh my gosh.
that's an angle hover for sure.
Good lord. So yeah,
That's very good.
So fun fact about hovers, you can get low hovers like that, but even if they're in between the invisible walls, they're also dangerous because if they're too low, you can actually run into those icicle spikes.
Oh,
which do...
almost a 35.
Oh yeah, close. Those icicle spikes though that stick out that it kind of like grazed past also have collision, and they can also stop your hover from working. So if you go for extremely fast and low hovers like me, they can be a problem as well. But,
Yeah, I personally go for a height setup, which gets me like 38 entry usually.
Yeah, I think
36 if I'm going very fast.
I honestly think like Doka and I are the only people who go for like fast low hovers and runs. Like they're just so risky to go for.
Yeah. I think username when I was
true.
running also did that.
Definitely username. Does this username's another top runner of the game. But I'm gonna be honest, I don't do the setup where you get a height-based hover that goes over the invisible walls because I just don't know how. I've never managed to figure out how you get it consistently. So I just like
It's just the opposite for me. I do not understand angle hovers.
yeah. Was I supposed to go to mail delivery service also? I think I was.
Oh yeah, but it doesn't really
It's
matter.
fine. Yeah, the order doesn't matter majorly, honestly. You can do pipe or mail delivery service first. You do pipe first in normal any percent though, so that's why I got completely thrown off.
Yeah, level order matters to some extent, but some levels are interchangeable.
Yeah. Another good example is sewers and the golden vault. You can choose to do sewers first before the golden vault if you feel like it.
Yeah, it's so cursed.
I know, it's cursed. Like, I just feel weird saying that.
Yeah, generally top runners will follow the same level route for like, so they can compare their splits, and there's also like community gold sheets
Yeah,
to make it all consistent.
Yeah, it's mainly for that. So when you get to a level that you're good enough to be able to get like the best splits in the community, you generally want to follow the same mail delivery service. The same level order as other runners in your routing.
The levels who are playing the runners.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
It's like the manor. Manor is a level that plays you.
Yeah, okay, true. Okay, that is very true. Alright, here we go. I'm gonna go for a faster double and use my non-decal setup there.
Cursed.
Yeah, I just kind of know how to do it without decals. I can't quite describe it. Alright, got a good overlap, looks like. Good mini storage. Ooh. Okay, I was confused. I was like, why do I have 12 timepieces? And it's like, I already did pipe. I did pipe, that's why. Because I did pipe. I did pipe early. That's the only reason. Alright, now we're gonna go to village and then toilet. I'm not forgetting any levels, am I? Like, I'm paranoid now.
I don't think so. No, you're good.
Okay, cool. I'm paranoid. I got the level wrong. Boing, boing. Oh my god, I thought I was gonna overshoot that. That was very scary.
No, the slingshot.
Yeah, if you have to be like facing a specific angle for that slingshot to work. If you're just like facing the wall a little too much, sometimes it just doesn't work like that, even if you buffer the one frame on the ground. So I was just barely facing the wall too much, so I did not get the slingshot there. Okay, here's Cookie STJ, that's what we call it. That was scary, actually.
Oh my god.
Hold
Are you
on.
gonna get it?
No!
No, that's a very, very hard cycle.
Yes, that is like a super hard cycle to get in Village. That I unfortunately, I did not trust that. Oh my gosh. I jumped so early there. I did not trust that. But that's
There's a cycle off that last moving part where you can D-issue off of it and climb and barely reach the wall.
yeah.
High enough part.
Without having to touch the ground right in front of it again, basically. You just go straight to it. And I barely missed it. I've actually never gotten it before. It's, the cycle itself is very hard. But there's a lot of people who can do it. That's an example of bonking on the dwellers, also, when they're moving around like that. But there's a lot of people who can get that cycle. I mainly can't because I'm not good at it. That's pretty much it. I'm just very bad at that cycle.
Yeah.
Cannot quite figure it out myself.
Village is not in the unrestricted 90% road.
Yep. I do not do it regularly. Okay. Good minute. This toilet's alright so far, but besides that little dweller bonk. But it's not a big deal at all. Alright. Block his jump. That is unfortunate RNG. Can I get a little bit of RNG? Please? Pretty please? Oh my.
Wow.
I got the worst RNG you can get 2 times, unfortunately. But it is what it is. You ideally want the cherry to spawn like right in front of you and the toilet to spawn right in front of the cherry, so you can hit him instantly. That was scary. Oh my gosh. I almost went too far forward. If you go too far...
Probably.
If you go too far forward on that quick kill, what happens is your camera kind of spirals out of control, and then you stop being under him when it spirals too far, and it just doesn't work. He gets unstuck from your head and stays on the cherry, basically. Alright, let's go. Oh no, you go ahead.
Not a hard window. It's not a difficult window to learn the timing for, though.
Yeah.
Because it's very easy to tell, like, what went wrong when you went too early. That's what happens when you go too late. You just, like, you don't land him on your head in the first place.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay. Let's hope this front bend goes a little more smoothly. And that I don't lose 2 minutes. But we shall see. Technically, I think I'm ahead of my PB, but mainly because I got hover this time. I lost in my PB, so if I don't get an early Brumpin, I'm probably going to fall behind very fast again. It's just how it is.
And check real quick.
Yeah.
If you want the information.
No.
No,
Keep it
you do not want
anonymous.
the information. Okay.
I'm afraid. I'm afraid of feeling pressure again.
That is very understandable.
Oh! Okay. I missed the TS
Okay.
now. It's unfortunate.
That went better than in the...
In the tutorial,
Focus.
yes, for sure. Yeah, that's the timing ideally with that. I still am losing like 12 seconds compared to my PB, I believe. Because it still took me a few tries. My PB gets it the very first try, which is kind of crazy.
It's absurd.
Yeah, I remember I got it first try, I was like freaking out, like, oh gosh, my goodness.
The split is just very, very difficult with that trick, and also eyesight quick kill being stressful.
Yeah, I would say Down with the Mafia is probably the hardest level in lagless 70%.
At a top level, yeah.
Yeah, so if you're gonna be doing the harder strats in it, picking it up, definitely give Down with the Mafia a lot of love. Lots and lots of love. Because it needs it. It is a very grumpy level without giving it its love.
It's very upset all the time, I agree.
Yes.
I mean, look how mad this guy is.
Oh yeah. I did not count my sandbags there. I think I got 1 sandbag and 2 yells. I think.
I have no idea.
Yeah. Oh, something I didn't talk about in the tutorial. Also, you'll notice I'm like hat wheeling before I hit him. On some attacks, you actually have a chance to be able to cancel his hit stun animation by entering the hit stun with hat wheel, and then it just cancels the hit stun. but unfortunately I did not get it in any of those
Nice
attempts.
quick kill.
Yeah. Oh yeah, nice quick kill.
You performed it while explaining a different trick. That's kind of insane.
the hit stun cancels with Hat Wheels. But yeah, getting those hit stun cancels very fast is difficult, as you saw. I missed all of them. I didn't get one because I like to go for very fast Hat Wheels to try and stay in the Hat Wheel animation as little as possible, so I can maximize how much time save I get out of those hit stun animations, since the game does slow down whenever you're hat wheeling. Okay, here's Golden Bolt. I love this route so much. It's such a good route.
Thanks.
You're welcome. There's another route. The other route for this in normal 90% with lag is terrifying because I'm not going to talk about lag the whole time, but just briefly mentioning it. There is a trick with lag that basically lets you emulate a stuck warp, so that thing we do in Heating Up Mafia Town to teleport around, anywhere in the game, like anywhere you want. So you can kind of get an idea for what the level is like. You're basically doing 1 frames absolutely everywhere, making sure you're not touching safe spots for more than 1 frame whatsoever.
It's absurd.
Yeah, to just teleport straight back to the timepiece by the time you get all the tickets, pretty much. It's quite terrifying. Alright, and the next is sewers. I'm like telling myself what's next, because
That route also saves like 12 seconds.
12 seconds? Is it really 12?
Yeah, with a lag. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's a lot of time. Oh, wait, you're
Just
right.
Comparing with the IL you just got.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that is, wow, that's scary. Lag saves a lot of time in this game. It's terrifying. Sure. I guess I landed in it.
Yeah, that collision is funny.
It's silly. It's very silly.
It's convenient.
Oh yeah. The cycle can be tricky to get down also when you're first learning, but there's a lot of backups to it as well. Where you just kind of like go up on a different platform that pops up later. Also, just so you know, that those dive boosts right there, because your camera is like fixed and you can't use the mouse camera to kind of help angle your dives, those dive boosts are a lot easier to do on controller. So if you want to play this game learning controller, then you're going to have an easy time learning sewers, 100%. Big time.
Yeah. Generally the rules with, or like the general concept with controller is a controller will perform better in levels where the camera is locked.
Yes, because you have all analog directions, you're not just locked into WASD. I'm going to go for something crazy here.
Oh no.
Hold on. I gotta.
You can do it again. That's.
Alright. Ah!
No.
No, there's a heart on there. Oh, but I set my safe spot.
That's a safe spot. Okay, you can. You should show
I'm
it
going
off.
back
It's really
up. I
cool.
want to show this. It's such a cool bit of movement. So I showed you how you can like sprint, jump off the faucet to get to the second one and kind of do a buffered 1 frame to not set your safe spot on the roof. But if you're feeling extra spicy, you can hit this and then go down here, dive, and do what's called a lava yeet.
That trick is ridiculous.
Yes, it's so cool. So the lava on that bridge has very strange collision. You kind of get like stuck against the slant of the bridge. And that causes you to get a ton of speed when you like get out of it. Because think of it kind of like an upside down ice hat slingshot. Like
That is so cursed. I don't like how that makes sense.
Yeah.
Though.
It's like you're going up against collision instead of down against a slanted collision, basically. Oh my gosh, that fish.
The wall.
Oh my goodness.
The incident.
Oh
I don't
yeah.
talk about it.
We don't talk about the fish incident. Alright, that's good. Alright, obviously I lost a lot of time because I had to go back to hub in order to show off that cool trick, but I wanted to show it. I don't really care. Don't do that in runs though. Do not. I tried doing it when I was first learning this category. It's not consistent at all, but it's just such a cool trick. It takes like, I believe, 2.5 seconds over just like doing the regular sprint jump on top of the faucet, the 1-frame jump, and then diving down to the faucet. And it's also the fastest, even with lag strats, which can save time over the normal strats there. Lava Yeet is still faster than the lag strats, so it's just the fastest way to get down there in general. I'm going to CTR, right? Cheating the race?
Yes.
Okay, cheating the race, yes.
You're doing CTR death, and then Bazaar.
Yes, cheating the race death. CTR stands for cheating the race also. I've been saying that acronym a lot, just because talking about the trick CTR death, it just feels strange saying cheating the race death. I've never said that, but I'm trying to for explaining it more clearly.
I forgot to avoid acronyms. Honestly.
Yeah, I think we did pretty good still, honestly, on avoiding level acronyms. Pretty good. Yeah, that was a mad dive boost. Okay, just a little scared. Hi. Oh my gosh.
Ooh,
that was terrifying. So the guy on the rocket actually has collision. So obviously when he gets very close to grabbing the timepiece before you die into the timepiece, it's both scary because it means you were very close to failing, and it's scary because if you get hit into him, you can actually miss the timepiece entirely. He can like block you from hitting it, which you don't want. Yep. That is very, very bad. And that is a dead speedrun, essentially.
Yeah, if you miss the timepiece, you have to basically play cheating the race again.
Yep. This marathon run has been pretty cursed with Bazaar. I am not gonna lie. I just like kind of forgot how to play it. The fast
gamer cycle only saves 2, so that's fine.
Yeah, it's not a big deal at all. I do it in my PB though. You can see it there if you want to watch it later. I do get it there. Yes, Nyakuza. I'm going to Nyakuza now. Alright. And we're gonna do yellow overpass. Set up for that main station timepiece overlap with the Empress cutscene. And yeah, hopefully Gamer Clean goes okay. Gamer Clean is what we call the SDJ that goes straight into the green clean timepiece instead of going to that recovery volume and making your way around with the Roomba cat. Or yeah, the Roomba cat. It is a Roomba cat, yes.
Yes. Cat Roomba cat.
Yep. Good boop. Alright. Hopefully the cycle's okay. Oh, that is the worst cycle you can get. Where it's just too far for you to climb, but you still have to wait for this train and you don't have the ability to move forward. I think that loses, is it 8 seconds over the best cycle? It loses a lot, surprisingly.
Yes, it's a lot.
Yeah, it's quite a bit. Yeah, you can actually jump straight onto this car. As you throw the brewer there, killing the cat. This is not a good cycle to work with, unfortunately. I'm gonna have to wait a sec for this next
wait
train
here
to
as
come.
well. Or shot.
Yeah. Very not so good cycles. And my IL I got is a 105, so that means I lost...
That's only 10 seconds combined.
Yeah, 10 seconds. You can get like 55 and 56 IL times with this. Alright, we're gonna go do that. Boop, boop. Also, these cats that walk around, like randomly, where they are is completely RNG, and they do have collision. So you actually want to watch out for them while you're traveling around Nyakuza. They can be dangerous. And mess up your setups for stuff.
There's one that seems to get in the way of my green clean quite consistently.
Yeah, he's the one with like the round face. And he just kind of... Whoa! Oh, that is unfortunate. I think I booped a little too late is what happened.
Yeah, that was a late boop.
I'll grab these just in case.
That's what happens.
Yeah, that's what it looks like when you boop too late. So just again, make sure you boop as early as you can right before grabbing the ledge. Otherwise, you just kind of get vaulted into planet Earth.
into planet Earth.
Planet Earth. I don't know what I was going for there. I think I
Maybe
meant
into
like,
the planet's core.
yeah, something like that. Not into planet Earth.
I think we're already there.
Yeah, maybe, just maybe. All right, I'm going for the main station timepiece. Look at that cat go! Wow. There we go. There's
Two for two.
There's this one cat NPC by the main station timepiece overlap. He just kind of gets stuck in a wall in the middle there. Like, just gets stuck and just like wiggles around over and over for eternity. It's quite silly. All right, here comes Gamer Queen.
We've all been there.
Oh yeah. Ooh, just barely. took
not
our
quite.
lift. Yeah. Unfortunate. Alright. Oh, that's so sad.
You might have to revoke your gamer status.
No! I'm a gamer, I promise, guys. I promise. If I get it once, okay, if I get it now, do I get to be a gamer again?
Yes.
Okay. Oh! Gamer status is back, y'all. Just barely. Just
Yes,
barely.
we can. We have the office open on business hours.
Yeah.
Come by, get your gamer license back.
Yay! Thank you. Alright, hopefully this sequence goes a bit better this time with Green Mantle. I am glad I kind of showed off both the ways that the clips can go wrong here, though, because I kind of got them first try in the tutorial both times.
Yep.
So yeah, you can see just how punishing it is if you're not careful there.
Yeah, there's a way to like set up those bip clips in a way that's like relatively safe.
Yeah.
You take an extra second to line it up.
Alright, and there we go, and we're going into the finale now. We're about on a mid-37 pace or so, which is not too bad for what's gone wrong so far. Definitely, totally cool with that. Alright.
So it should be
Oh yeah.
around 6 minutes, maybe closer to 7 or 2
Yes.
remaining.
The finale segment, like from going back to hub after collecting the timepiece to finishing the finale, grabbing the timepiece cluster, is on average 6 minutes lagless if things all go decently. That's like the average time I get. A really good time with like perfect RNG and stuff is like 5 minutes and 40 seconds. Like 40.
540 is like the lag seagull, isn't
Yes. Yes, it is. Well, 5 minutes and like 40 seconds range. So like 5:48, 5:47, all that. That's what I consider very, very good.
it? For lagless, you are more restricted in the fight.
Yeah, you're just now the thing with lag in final phase that makes it a lot better is the timepieces attack. If you lag the game as she goes into the timepieces attack, she actually temporarily gets stuck in the floor, and that gives you the power to actually get doubles off of every single attack in the fight, and which causes it to be less RNG, more of it's in your control. So in general, there's just more RNG in finale as a result of that alone. Final phase is a lot more likely to go wrong.
And lag also has general time save in the fight.
Oh, yeah.
Too. Some curse things you can do with it.
Oh yeah, very cursed things. Lag in general is just a lot of cursed things.
Yes. It's an entirely separate entity that we're not
Yeah,
discussing
100%.
the intricacies for.
Absolutely.
I might make a video covering how to get started with lags in the future, though.
Yeah, honestly, it'd be cool to branch into that. Because, yeah,
Sounds
lag is...
very hard to make, though.
Yeah, lag is hard, but there's so much, like, just cool things you can do with it, and, like, very fun speed boosts you can get out of it with certain tricks. That's a Dweller dive boost, also.
Oh my god.
Yeah, or that's Dweller dive boost in Gauntlet. It's where you do a dive boost off the edge of... Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, you can't climb that.
Woo! That owl was out for blood. Oh my goodness. There we go. Yeah, if you miss the DSJ on that fence, that's usually what happens. There's unfortunately a recovery volume in the lava there, so if you fail to get that jump on top of the pillar by the hammer, you're probably gonna end up going all the way back like that. So just be very careful there. That's a big reason why I highly recommend left side over right side, because the jump is much easier off of the gate compared to right side, so it's much less punishing. I mean, despite that fall, 217 slap, that is not the worst.
Manageable.
Yeah. A good slap time in this fight, or in the... Oh, I forgot.
No.
I did not count right. This is why I do not do tutorials while streaming the game in my own personal streams. I just forget to count. It's a curse. But a good slap time, lagless, is getting hit by her at 208. That's what I ideally like to see. If you're crazy fast enough, though, you can actually get slapped by her at 205. And again, those are gatekept by the hammer cycles you get at the end of the gauntlet there. They're usually like segmented as a result of the hammer cycles being like set and not just like random, like when you get to it. Okay, that face wasn't bad though. All right, let's see what cherry RNG we get here.
Those times go down to 205 and 203 with some lag strats.
Yeah, lag can get 203s, but I don't know if 203 is possible lagless. I don't think it is.
I really don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so. Unless some new stuff was found. Good.
Double.
All right, that was very solid start. My cherry phases are on point today. Oh my gosh. I got the end.
Oh,
What?
wow.
Oh.
Dude.
Okay, so let me explain something real fast with that while this cutscene's going on into final phase. If you noticed, when she jumped in the air, she did not go very far whatsoever. And that's something I actually intentionally did. It's extremely niche tech found by Does This username. When she does a shockwave attack, she usually is going to bounce somewhere to her right side. So if you just kind of hug her right side after she goes out of a shield, when she does a shockwave attack, she's very likely to just stall in the air very close to you instead of going far away. And so you can wait under her and umbrella her for a chance at a double. That is also Noack Potion I did there. What Noack Potion is you time throwing a potion at the end of cherry phase. And if it works, it will hit her right at the beginning of final phase if she goes into shockwaves or the timepieces attack. Oh, but I barely caught her there before she got into the next attack. Wow. And yeah, there's a speedrun of lagless for you. Looks like this is going to be a 37:46. Yep. Not too bad for the hiccups I had here and there. And yeah, that's what a speedrun of lagless looks like. And
GG's,
that's
that was
time.
awesome.
I forgot to say time. I'm still so new to the GDQ format. I'm so sorry.
That's all good. It's all good.
All right. And yeah, there you go. There's a tutorial on the movement of hat, on the route of lagless, some tricks in lagless, and there's a run showcasing what it all looks like together with no pauses in between. And I really hope you guys enjoy it. This has been a really fun project for Kaz and I to prepare for. Like, as soon as church contacted me asking if I wanted to do this, I was so excited and just like spent the entire week coming up like preparing for all the things I wanted to show off, and Kaz spent a lot of time preparing those speedrunning beginner-friendly tools for learning the game. It's just been such a good project, and I'm really thankful that you guys were able to have us on here. Thank you so much for that.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you both for being on. One of the things I love about this show is being able to, have people who are so passionate about their games in the community come on and do this. So to hear like that y'all were both pumped and you did all of this work, that's awesome. I appreciate it so much.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, of course.
And are there any questions before we start closing things off?
We are a little delayed, so you should probably start talking while we wait for the questions. Right now, there's a lot of boops.
A lot of boops. All right. Lots of boops.
We don't know what to do with that.
Yes. We can clip somewhere. Get a lot of Yakuza timepieces with them. Yeah, I was really excited to specifically do lagless any percent. I wanted to do normal any percent initially, but I realized it was just going to be so much to cover with what lag is capable of doing to this game. It extends basically everything I talked about to an extreme. Like, it just like makes a lot of the base movement already like so much crazier and faster, and you can do some super crazy stuff with it that breaks the game. But I'm really happy I was able to, or I was happy I decided to do a tutorial on lagless any percent instead, because as fun as lag is when it comes to breaking the game, one of the issues that I noticed with it is a lot of newer runners were just very intimidated by it, which is very understandable. It's a lot of setup, there's a lot of different things you can do with it, there's a lot of binds you have to do to make it work. And it's just really difficult to pick up and speedrun the game with it. So I was kind of inspired to pick up lagless any percent again and optimize the category more to kind of give a easier option for players who wanted to pick up the game to like go into. So I really do hope that for those out there who did want to try it out, I really do hope that that kind of encourages you to give it a shot if you were a little intimidated by the amount of tricks you saw in like world records and stuff on the normal any percent boards, because this game is fantastic. It's got great movement, it feels so fluid to play. It's very easy to pick up too. The mechanics are not hard to learn at all going into it. Even for the trickier jumps like TSJs and DSJs.
This game is easy to pick up and hard to master.
Yes.
It's that type of game.
That's the perfect way to describe it. It's just something you learn and you just very slowly add all these more like niche, small time saves over time. And I absolutely adore that. I have like 3,500 hours in this game about.
Yep.
I've been playing it for...
I have 3,000 myself.
Yep, we've both been playing it for a very long time, and there's runners who have even more than us, like a lot more. Like 4,000, some even 5,000 almost.
Yeah, I think Doka's close to 5,000.
Yeah, he's getting there.
Doka's at 5,000 already now.
Oh my gosh, yeah. But it's just because there's just so much to do in this game once you master it. There's so many small things to add. There's honestly still potential routes that we're figuring out to this day and thinking about, like dwellerless, skipping the dweller hat with some crazy stuff. And so...
Yeah, new things are constantly being discovered, like the overlap in mail delivery service is a fairly new trick.
Yes.
It's just 2 months old?
Yeah,
maybe
2
less.
months old about. The first run it was used in was an all timepieces base levels run that Enhu got, actually. That is currently the record for that category. I also recommend you watch that run. It goes over all the... Basically, it just gets all the base timepieces without the DLC, so all 40 timepieces. And it has a lot of super cool stuff in that. That's another great category I would recommend watching. But yeah, there's still so many new things being discovered, new optimizations being gone for and found, and so it's just so cool that this game has been out for almost... Has it been out for 5 years now? Almost 6? 5 years?
It's 2017, so 6-ish, depending on when it was released.
Wow, yeah.
It was released in October.
Like 5.5, yeah. And it's
Yep.
it's just so cool seeing this, like, relatively smallish sized indie speedrunning group, like still finding new stuff and playing it to this day, even after 5 years of its release. Just such a cool community. I just want to give a massive shout out to the hat community. Y'all are all very dear to me, and I'm just like so glad I found y'all and got to experience all these changes over the years with y'all.
Absolutely. I share the same sentiment.
So it looks like the only speedrun related question we have was, what's the easiest category for beginners to run?
So I showcased any percent lagless. That is one of the easiest categories to pick up to learn. I'd say it's the second easiest, but there is another any percent variant called any percent no major glitches, and it's somewhat similar to lagless, but as it says, no major glitches. So the hover I showed off, the manor hovers are not allowed. Quick kills on bosses are not allowed either. And going out of bounds,
Out of bounds
is not
as well,
allowed.
yeah.
Yes. And using the boop emote to break stuff is not allowed in general, I believe.
Yeah, boop
too.
exploits are not allowed either.
Yeah, so because of that eliminates a lot of tech you kind of see in any percent lagless and get a little stressed about. And if you feel uncomfortable going out of bounds and get nervous about that, I would highly recommend doing any percent no major glitches, especially for the purpose of not having to worry about quick kills at all. It's a pretty good, like very, very good run for beginners.
Yeah, this is sort of the middle ground. But it is definitely also beginner accessible if you're willing to put the time into it.
Yep. It's just up to whichever route you prefer, and if you want to do quick kills or go out of bounds, then you do any percent lagless. If not, just start out with no major glitches, or maybe shift over to lagless as you go. There's a lot of options for getting into this game for sure.
That's awesome. I'm just trying to make sure there's no other like speedrun questions that we're missing before we sign off. We should try and wrap this up a little bit though, unfortunately, because we are cutting into speedrun from the Crypt's time. So if anybody does have any questions, Boop Troop Discord is where they can go to ask.
Yes, the Boop Troop
correct.
Discord.
You can Google that, it should probably show up.
Yep.
We can also create an invite link to put in the chat right now.
Yeah.
I've got one right here. Just
And
Yeah, if you already have one.
Yep, and if you have any questions, just go to the Hat Speedrunning channel and you can ask them there. And we can do our best to answer them for y'all.
And for anybody watching this on YouTube in the future, all of the stuff that we've talked about will be in the description, so you can click on that to go to the Discord, find the playlist Kaz was talking about earlier, all that kind of
Oh,
stuff.
perfect.
Thank you again, both of you, so much. This has been awesome. Y'all have done a fantastic job. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you for
Yeah, of
having
course.
us here.
Thank you for having us here. This is very fun.
I'm glad y'all had fun. I played this game on release, so I was really happy to be able to have the tutorial of this. So that was awesome.
Oh yeah, it's changed so much.
It really has. With all that said,
Oh, yes.
I guess, do either of you have any closing thoughts?
Not in particular, no. I think I've said about everything I want to.
Yep, I mostly just agree with what she's been saying.
Yeah.
Excellent. With all that said, we do have speedruns from the Crypt coming up, so we are going to go to a quick break while they get ready. Just before we go, just a quick reminder, if you're over on YouTube watching, be sure to press the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel. Also, you can go to twitch.tv/GamesDoneQuick if you're interested in watching any of our live content. It starts weeknights at 7 p.m. Eastern and weekends at 1 p.m. Eastern. With all that said, we've got Bioshock Trilogy coming up on Speedruns from the Crypt, so be sure to stick around for that.